In a world ruled by those who possess vibrant colors and belong to the upper class, the colorless are pushed to the very bottom of society, enduring endless discrimination and unfair treatment. Meanwhile, black is the color of monsters, a color everyone despises and fears. But all of that changed when a young man accidentally became the only person to awaken the color. Black, not only does he possess a body as hard as steel, so tough that any monster trying to bite him would shatter its own teeth, he also awakened an energy-absorbing skill that allows him to drain the colors of others. It's a hard counter skill that turns all those so-called elites into his prey. Originally, he was just a black guy. Wait. No. I mean, a colorless, ever since he was a kid. Young Kai had to hustle hard to survive. High risk. High reward. He just wanted to live a peaceful life. But some bastards tried to steal his precious cat. They even wanted to kill him, figuring that if an ordinary colorless went missing, no one would even care. But little did these fools know. They were digging their own graves. They accidentally awakened a monster capable of destroying the entire world, deep inside a dark cave. Kai intently watched the drops of liquid falling from the rock wall. He cheered in excitement. Found it. Ink. After carefully filling his bottle with the colored liquid, the blue ink, Kai turned to thank the black cat on his shoulder. Thanks. Nero, I couldn't have found it without you. Stepping out into the light, he muttered to himself, gripping the bottle. With this, the exploration team will definitely accept me this time. Gazing at the dazzling city in the distance, Kai was brimming with hope. In the city center, laughter and lively chatter filled the air. People gathered in groups, buzzing with excitement. Let's welcome our color coordinators. The crowd showered the heroes with endless praise. Look at those vibrant colors, so cool. Right. Another person eagerly chimed in. Of course, I heard they even took down a giant monster this time. They truly deserve that title. Everyone believed that as long as the color coordinators were around, the City of Light would always be safe. However, in the dark street, reality was incredibly harsh. Kai was suddenly kicked out of the recruitment office. I sent flying to the ground along with a harsh shout, "Get lost." The fierce guard roared. How many times do I have to tell you, this ain't the place for your kind, after putting so much effort into finding the ink, only to be treated like this? Kai indignantly held up the bottle he had just found and shouted, Why I brought the ink? What's the problem? I've already proven my ability. The guard looked impatient. Ugh. So annoying. Do I really have to spell it out for you? He glared straight at Kai and growled. You're a colorless. Kai stood frozen at the insult. People are born with their own roles. But every now and then, trash like you shows up. Not knowing your damn place, the guard snarled. Listen closely. You colorless scum instantly. A blazing red wave of pressure sent Kai flying, leaving him only enough time to cry out in pain. The people standing at the office door looked down at him with utter contempt. They emphasized that the title of explorer was only for the chosen ones like them. They declared that a weakling would never survive in the black lands out there. Out there. The darkness is so absolute you can't even see an inch ahead. In that eternal night, dangerous monsters are always lurking everywhere. The explorers proudly boasted that they risked their lives to find resources and treasures, sacrificing for the future of humanity to be hailed as heroes. The guard turned and walked away, not forgetting to leave a final insult. That's why colorless trash like you will never make it. Go do something that fits your pathetic status, he shouted. Don't ever show your face around us again. Bother us one more time. And you're dead. Kai was humiliated and cursed at until the heavy wooden door slammed shut, leaving him standing in the cold rejection. Seeing Nero anxiously peek out from his jacket, Kai forced a smile to comfort him. It's okay, Nero. There are still plenty of places to try. I'm used to this anyway. His eyes suddenly burned with determination. He told himself, I will definitely become the greatest color coordinator. I made a promise. After all, Kai quickly urged Nero to hide back inside his jacket to avoid being seen. Walking through the streets, he resolved to try his luck elsewhere. I won't give up. I have to see this through to the end. From high above, a mysterious blue-haired man was secretly watching Kai. Completely unnoticed, Kai stopped amidst the bustling crowd, pulling out his notebook to check the next locations on his list. Crossing out the last few names in his notebook, he let out a heavy sigh. Disappointed, he muttered. This place is a bust too. And this one. Huh. Nothing but dead ends today. I went everywhere, and no one would take me. With no other options, he trudged back to Mary's mechanic shop. Stepping through the door, Kai called out wearily. Mary. I'm back. Mary, who was busy working, greeted him with a bright smile. Come on in. Kai, what's with that face? Rejected again. Kai could only nod in admission. Yeah. Pretty much. At that moment, Nero popped out of his jacket, making Mary exclaim. Nero's here too. Mary got angry on her friend's behalf. Those people are completely blind. You're stronger than any normal explorer, Kai replied sadly. They don't accept the colorless. What can I do? Mary still wasn't having it. She insisted he was more than capable since he managed to retrieve items from the Black Lands. But Kai just humbly brushed it off. That was only because Nero helped me. Exhausted after a day of failures. He sluggishly pulled out the bottle of blue ink and handed it to her. Here. Buy this from me. Mary cheered happily. Thanks, I'll pay you handsomely for it, as she poured the ink into a machine. She complained about the current ink shortage being a total disaster. With prices skyrocketing every day, Mary emphasized that everyone's livelihood depended entirely on ink. Suddenly remembering something. She looked at Kai seriously and asked, Have you thought about what I told you the other day? Seeing Kai still hesitating out of fear, she slammed a flyer onto the table and shouted, This is a great opportunity. It was a recruitment form for an S-rank exploration team. Kai stared at the paper in shock. An S-rank exploration team, I always assumed I'd fail. So I never even dared to apply. A wave of doubts flooded his mind. Was he really strong enough to survive in a place like that? But Mary cut through his thoughts with genuine encouragement. Kai, this is a great chance. Just try it. I heard they value actual ability. Who knows? They might acknowledge you. She looked him straight in the eye and reminded him of his burning dream. You want to be a color coordinator? Right. You've been saying that since we were kids. Memories of their childhood standing in the rain flashed back. Mary firmly declared, We will always support you. No matter what you do. Her words made Kai's eyes light up with determination once again. He had been feeling defeated because nowhere would accept him. But now, hearing his friend's encouragement, Kai smiled resolutely. This is no time to be picky. Gripping the application for the Dawn Exploration team, he waved goodbye to Mary. Thanks. Mary, I'll drop by later. Mary smiled and waved back. Yeah. Be careful. Walking down the deserted alley, Kai told himself he needed to hurry and prepare since the application deadline was almost up. Suddenly, Nero growled in high alert, leaving Kai confused. Huh, Nero. What's wrong? Before he could even understand what was happening, a blue-haired stranger with cold, sharp eyes appeared. In his hand was a short sword emitting an eerie blue glow. He swung the sword, unleashing a powerful wind slash aimed straight at Kai. Kai's eyes widened in sheer terror. The direct hit sent him flying, screaming in agony. Kai collapsed on the ground, still not processing what was happening. As the assassin approached and sneered, Oh, a colorless piece of trash actually survived that, his accomplice coldly added. He'll be dead soon enough. Nobody's gonna miss a colorless nobody anyway. Noticing Nero anxiously hovering beside him, Kai used the last of his strength to whisper, Nero. Run. They dragged him to a desolate area filled with massive pipelines. Marked with a warning sign, Ink Waste Treatment Area. Kai woke up with a groan. The blue-haired guy smiled maliciously. Oh. You're awake. Too bad for you. Now you're getting tossed in there because you survived. He dragged Kai right to the edge of a pit filled with ink waste, a deadly concoction formed when all ink colors mixed together. He explained that this stuff was extremely dangerous. Anyone who fell in would dissolve without a trace. There's no better place to dispose of a body than here. Kai, in immense pain, struggled to speak. Who the hell are you, beaten unconscious? Dragged here to have his body disposed of, Kai furiously screamed. Why did you attack me? The blue-haired leader gave a sinister smile and replied. Hey. We were pretty shocked ourselves. I never expected to find a treasure in the dark street. An intelligent monster following a human around. It's an incredibly rare creature. Kai desperately called out his little friend's name. Nero, seeing Nero sobbing behind the iron bars of a cage, he used every ounce of his strength to punch the scumbag's arm. Give him back. You bastard. But it did absolutely nothing. The guy mocked Kai. Oh. I'm so scared a colorless piece of trash can't do a damn thing no matter how hard you try. Not only did he humiliate Kai, but his greed for Nero was obvious. Selling this thing on the black market will make us a fortune. It's way too valuable to be wasted on a colorless loser like you. Choked to the point of suffocation, Kai bitterly blamed himself. Damn it, I was too careless. I shouldn't have let my guard down in the dark street. He resentfully realized that he had always been discriminated against and despised. But he absolutely could not accept them stealing Nero, his only family. His fury exploded. Kai glared with pure hatred. You bastards. The moment Kai touched his attacker's hand, a bizarre black aura suddenly erupted. The blue-haired guy's face paled in terror. What the something sucking me and Kai's entire body was enveloped in a terrifying black shroud, making the man scream in disgust. Gross. He frantically shoved Kai away, sending him plummeting straight into the ink waste pit. Then, he coldly dusted off his hands. Well, that takes care of that. Ignoring Nero's heart-wrenching cries, They laughed triumphantly. Heh, we're rich now, let's head to the black market. They turned and walked away with Nero without a second thought. In the abyssal darkness of the waste pit, Kai felt himself slowly sinking. His only thought right now was that he had to save Nero. But his body was completely paralyzed, refusing to move. He asked himself, is it really going to end like this, so pointlessly, hovering on the line between life and death? Images of Mary and his memories with Nero flashed before his eyes. No. I still have that promise to keep. In the dark void, a mysterious voice echoed in Kai's head. Kai. Why are you just standing there? What the hell are you doing? He wondered in a daze. Who is that? The voice relentlessly urged him on. Rise up. Do what you can. Are you really going to let it end like this? Don't hesitate, save Nero. Right now, in his subconscious, Kai saw a silhouette beckoning him to accept his true power. His eyes suddenly blazed. The voice roared. Take back your color. A pitch-black surge of energy exploded. A hand reached up powerfully from the bottom of the deep pit. Kai found himself standing in a strange, blindingly white void. He was stunned, asking himself, What? What just happened? Wasn't I in the ink? Looking at his hands, which were now stained pitch black. He tried to search his memories. After that, I don't remember. No. More importantly, who am I? Drifting in his conflicting thoughts. Who am I? What do I exist for? Suddenly, Nero's familiar cry echoed, snapping Kai back to reality. Seeing those two bastards carrying Nero's cage in the distance, he realized his one and only goal right now. Nero, are you there? That's right, I have to save Nero. Kai's pitch-black hand reached out. Instantly, a massive pillar of ink erupted from the pit like a tornado. The two assassins stumbled back in terror. What the hell is that? They couldn't believe their eyes, as all the ink in the pit vanished in the blink of an eye. From the black smoke, a terrifying silhouette stepped out, making them tremble. Then, an unrecognizable entity lunged forward. The blue-haired guy's eyes bulged in horror, cold sweat pouring down his face. No. Impossible, is that? A monster, a colossal hand made of pure darkness shot straight toward them at terrifying speed, right up until their deaths. They never understood what hit them, but I guess karma always catches up. Right. Folks, the scene was left in ruins, with collapsed buildings and thick dust filling the air. A panicked witness yelled at a police officer. I saw it clearly. A hand this huge suddenly popped out. It turned the whole area into a war zone. The officer jotted down notes, replying with heavy skepticism. Yes? Yes. I'm sure it did. Meanwhile, paramedics were carrying a lifeless, gray corpse on a stretcher, watching from nearby. Captain Rex spoke up. Lucky there were only 2 victims. Huh? The purple-haired girl beside him, Ellie, chimed in. Yes. Both were B-rank explorers. Their reputation wasn't exactly great. She looked at the drained, colorless corpse and wondered, I just don't understand what could have happened to make them lose all their color. Captain Rex pondered. That's important too. But let's put it aside for now. We're here because a giant monster appeared in the city. Recognizing who they were, the police officer panicked and exclaimed, Lord Color Coordinator. Meeting a color coordinator was like meeting a superstar. He immediately bowed respectfully. It's an honor to meet you. I'm in charge of this scene. Why would busy people like you come to the Dark Street, Captain? Rex replied calmly. Relax. We just received a request to investigate the monster. I want to see the scene. Can you lead the way? The officer hurriedly guided them deep into the ruined area. Yes. Yes, right this way. Sir, standing before the devastation, Captain Rex concluded. There really are traces of a monster here. Ellie also looked puzzled. We've kept track of the locations of all the large monsters reported recently. But for one to suddenly appear in the city, even if it's the outskirts, is really strange. She further explained that the creatures usually found in the city, like rats or birds, were just small, harmless animals. She worried. If a new variant has appeared, then. But Captain Rex cut her off. Don't jump to conclusions. Instead, let's figure out how to track this thing down. The 2 figures stood dwarfed amidst the heavily destroyed area, where shattered pipes and concrete stretched endlessly. They couldn't even imagine how massive the monster had to be to cause such widespread devastation. Amidst the rubble, Nero's cry rang out, shattering the silence. Kai groggily woke up. He gasped in astonishment. Nero, seeing his little friend licking his face. Kai quickly shot up, hugged him tight, and asked anxiously, Nero, are you okay? Seeing that Nero was safe and sound, Kai breathed a sigh of relief. Phew. Thank God. However, He started feeling bewildered about what had just happened. But what exactly happened? Memories of his encounter with the assassins flooded back. He seethed with anger. It was definitely those bastards. Looking around at the ruined scene, Kai wondered if they had been swallowed by the ink. Suddenly, looking at his own hands, a terrifying thought crossed his mind. Wait. Was it because of me? Lost in thought, wondering if it was a dream or reality. He suddenly realized with a jolt that his body had regained its color. Color? How is this even possible? Not only that, but his surroundings made him shudder. Moreover, why is it so pitch black? Here, I can't see a thing. In the thick darkness, he could only call out to his one and only friend for help. Nero. Help me out instantly. Nero started spinning and emitted a strange glow. Nero's entire body lit up brilliantly like a lantern, illuminating the gloomy space around them. Before Kai's eyes appeared a horrifying scene. Countless monsters were lurking among bizarre trees. He realized in shock where he currently was. Is this? The black lands in the distance was the faint glimmer of the city. While he was standing right in the middle of the black forest, a place where only B-rank explorers and above dared to set foot. Who brought him here? How was he even still alive in a place like this? While scanning his surroundings and trying to process everything, he suddenly yelled for Nero to come back so they could find an escape route, as a horde of monsters had already swarmed in and surrounded them. In the dead of night, Nero flashed continuously to warn of danger, helping Kai dodge lethal attacks by a hair's breadth. He breathed a sigh of relief. Thanks. Nero, however. The darkness around them remained thick, filled with countless lurking eyes. Nero turned into a brilliant streak of light, guiding Kai as he scaled sheer cliffs. While running, Kai marveled at the strange sensation coursing through him. What? What is this? What is this feeling? He noticed his body felt incredibly light. Even though he had been running non-stop, Kai was still bursting with energy and didn't feel tired at all. His speed and agility had reached a completely different level. Kai could clearly feel the power surging through his entire body as he executed extraordinary leaps across chasms. Suddenly, a giant monster appeared right in his face, stopping him dead in his tracks. Panicking, Kai realized he had nowhere to run. Damn it, I'm dead, he squeezed his eyes shut, resigning himself to his fate before the jaws of death. But he forgot that he had leveled up astronomically. The monster tried to chomp him in half. But who would have thought it bit into an arm so hard that it ended up shattering its entire set of teeth? I'm fine. I thought I was a goner for sure. Kai stared blankly at his hands, muttering in awe. Is this the power of color? Before he could even celebrate and fully grasp the power within his body, Nero immediately let out a warning cry. Kai looked up and froze at the sight of a colossal figure looming toward him. It was a one-eyed monster with long, menacing horns. Kai gasped in terror. A cyclops. He couldn't help but wonder why an apex predator that usually stayed deep within the black forest was out here. The monster let out a ferocious roar, then swung its arm, smashing the ground, creating a terrifying shockwave. Nero cried out frantically as he saw Kai get blasted away into the rubble. Kai struggled to his feet, but instead of running away, a newfound sensation surged within him, filling him with confidence. I don't know why, but I feel like I can beat this thing. Remembering all those years of being despised for being colorless, Kai's eyes suddenly turned sharp and cold. He declared, I finally have the color I've always dreamed of. Things are definitely going to be different now. I don't need to run away anymore. Courage welling up inside him, Kai clenched his fists with absolute resolve. He focused intensely to summon that mysterious power once again. Remember that feeling. That feeling. Instantly, a surge of black energy erupted, covering his entire body. Kai's eyes glowed a brilliant white. The Cyclops roared and brought its giant hand down, intending to crush him. No longer on the defensive, Kai stomped his foot, launched himself into the air, and shot forward with incredible speed. He poured all his strength into his fist and delivered a direct blow to the monster. A world-shaking explosion of energy occurred. It blew the massive body of the Cyclops away and shook the entire forest. Amidst the hazy black smoke, Kai's eyes glowed with power. He was stunned to find himself standing before a lush, vibrant green valley. Kai couldn't hide his astonishment. This is the vibrant natural scenery, with a small stream flowing through the trees, made him wonder in awe. Color, as he was enjoying the magnificent view. Suddenly, the black aura around him became chaotic, making Kai exclaim, Huh, whoa. A pillar of white light shot down from the sky into the deep forest. Nero flew around anxiously, seeing Kai collapsed amidst the rubble. Looking at his hands, which were gradually turning pale, Kai panicked. My color, he realized with painful clarity a harsh truth. The more power I use, the more color I lose. Kai gritted his teeth, enduring the torment in his body. No. At this rate, in that fragile moment between life and death, a mysterious voice once again echoed in his mind. What are you doing? Your food is right in front of you. Go on. Eat. The voice pointed towards the monster's corpse and continued to tempt him. The color is right before your eyes. You don't want to die. Do you? It's very simple. Just reach out your hand. Though he was panting from exhaustion, Kai was swayed by the urging words to reach out his hand. Though he didn't know if it was right or wrong, he couldn't resist the temptation of the voice in his ear. Kai tremblingly placed his hand on the corpse of the giant cyclops. Instantly, a surge of black energy erupted, madly devouring the color from the corpse. Witnessing the horrifying scene, Nero could only stand frozen in astonishment. A massive explosion of darkness spread throughout the forest, draining the life from the enemy to replenish Kai. After the absorption was complete, Kai was breathing heavily but had regained some vitality. He breathed a sigh of relief. Phew. I'm alive. At Mary's workshop, she was engrossed in her work when the doorbell rang. She looked up and smiled, welcoming the visitor. Welcome. What can I do for you today? Any special requests? However, her words were met with a mysterious silence from a figure completely shrouded in a black cloak, who was slowly stepping inside. A robbery in broad daylight. The customer's strange behavior made Mary to start to feel uneasy. She asked cautiously, Sir, don't you think you look a little suspicious? Noticing the person was still approaching, Mary panicked, grabbed a large wrench, and shouted a warning. Stop right there. One more step and I'll shoot. As the dark figure suddenly closed in, Mary could only shut her eyes and scream. But the stranger abruptly stopped and slowly pulled down his hood, revealing a gentle, smiling face. Calm down, Mary. It's me. Realizing he had taken the joke too far and scared his best friend, Kai scratched his head apologetically. Sorry for making you almost not recognize me. Haha. Mary was frozen in shock. She stammered. Kai. You. What happened to your appearance? After hearing Kai recount the entire incident, Mary was trembling with anger. I'm so furious I can't. Forgive those bastards. She brandished the weapon in her hand furiously. They deserve to have their heads smashed in with this hammer. Seeing his friend so agitated, Kai quickly tried to calm her down. It's okay, Mary. I already got my revenge. Mary finally calmed down. She sighed, looking at the wrench in her hand. Huh. You're right. I got a little carried away. Huh? She looked at Kai with concern. I was so worried when I lost contact with you. I never imagined something like this happened. Anyway, I'm just glad you're safe. Kai smiled and replied. Yeah. Sorry for making you worry. However, she felt worried for Kai, surviving a fall into the ink waste pit, and even gaining color. It's unbelievable. But black is the color of monsters. People are going to look at you with prejudice. Despite Mary's worries, Kai remained resolute. He stated firmly, that's in the past. What's important is that I have a chance to become a colorist. Kai decided to put everything else aside and focus all his energy on the Dawnbreaker Explorer team's entrance exam. He sincerely thanked Mary for helping him get back in time. Then he asked, Can I borrow some clothes or a spare set? I promise I'll return them. Although she sighed that this wasn't the first time, Mary still smiled and agreed. But consider it an investment in a future colorist. She excitedly grabbed his hand and pulled him along. Come with me. I happen to have something that will suit you perfectly. This friend is very thoughtful. It seems she prepared this for her friend in advance. Didn't she? Mary asserted that the new outfit would fit Kai perfectly. Dressed in his new clothes, Kai and Nero headed straight for the exam location. It was a colossal arena where thousands of people were jostling for space. The air was thick with tension. The surrounding candidates couldn't hide their anxiety. Phew. I'm so nervous. Why are there so many people? Another person tried to calm himself down. Don't panic. Just stay calm. With competition this fierce, who wouldn't be nervous? They all carried the dream of joining the Dawnbreaker Explorer team. An S-rank team with the most impressive records of exploring the Black Lands. Everyone who came here hoped for a chance to shine and showcase their talent, hailed as the hope of the City of Light. This team gathered the most talented colorists. However, Kai's biggest challenge was the lineup of extremely powerful applicants gathered here. But the one who captured everyone's attention was the Wind Sword. Gil. He was considered a shoo-in for acceptance thanks to his terrifying strength, capable of single-handedly taking down hordes of rampaging monsters. However, Gil was also known for his brutal personality and was kicked out of his old team for causing too much trouble. He didn't hesitate to use force to intimidate other candidates right on the spot, making them fearful and lose focus. crushing their will to compete. It was a powerful psychological blow. Amidst the crowd buzzing about the appearance of this dangerous individual, a few candidates still tried to act confident to hide their fear. Huh. Why be scared, with a little practice? You can beat guys like that. They're all nothing. A friend with him could only laugh awkwardly in response. What nonsense are you talking about, haha? Standing in the crowd, he heard some whispers of challenge and contempt, and thought to himself, huh. What a bunch of ridiculous kids. He felt disappointed, thinking there was no one truly outstanding in the entrance exam of such a prestigious S-rank team. However, his gaze suddenly stopped on a girl with long, vibrant blue hair. Standing in silent contemplation, Gil immediately identified his target. That must be her. Ellie Saiyan, the second daughter of the Saiyan family. Right, he smiled calculatingly upon seeing a worthy opponent. Just like the rumors say, she's quite impressive. It's easy to see why she gets noticed. While Gil was still curious about the reactions of others, a loudspeaker announcement suddenly echoed throughout the arena. Candidates. The entrance exam for the Dawnbreaker Explorer team will begin now. The crowd became ecstatic when they saw a real colorist step onto the stage. It was a man with brilliant golden hair and eyes that radiated powerful authority. The man was revered by the candidates like a god. They couldn't stop marveling at the legendary feats of this hero in recent large-scale monster hunts. The live appearance of a core member made the atmosphere tense. Everyone could feel the terrifying pressure emanating from this S-rank colorist, standing before thousands of candidates holding their breath. The golden-haired man spoke. Welcome, everyone. First, I want to thank all of you who have applied to the Dawnbreaker Explorer team. He glanced over the crowd and emphasized, whether your goal is money, power, or fame, none of it matters. His eyes turned sharp as he declared, in the end, only skill will help you achieve everything, and we only need the best. The ultimate goal of the Dawnbreaker team is to find the strongest warriors to venture into the Blacklands and reclaim territory for humanity. For him, there was absolutely no place for the mediocre. He began to explain the rules of the competition. The first test officially begins now. It will be a direct elimination format to test the combat abilities and survival skills of an explorer. Because in the world outside the city, the weak will certainly meet their end. The golden-haired colorist announced loudly. Prove your abilities here. We will select those who pass the first round based on the elimination results. When your number is called, step into the arena. Immediately, number 126 was called. Gil confidently stepped onto the stage with an arrogant look. When number 286 was called, the crowd began to buzz. Wow. A tough opponent right from the start. Poor guy. Gil smirked sinisterly, thinking, how lucky. Finally, something interesting. I was getting bored to death. He smugly considered. How should I play with him? Hey. However, when he looked closely at his opponent, number 286, who was completely cloaked, Gil paused. What's with this guy? He assessed the stranger's posture. His stance is clumsy. He looks so weak. Seeing his opponent still standing motionless like a statue, Gil clicked his tongue. Whatever. It doesn't matter. He slowly drew his sword from its sheath and growled. I've been quiet for long enough. Confident he could easily defeat his opponent, he showed open contempt for his rival. Gil shouted. The stage is set, no need to hold back anymore. A brilliant blue energy erupted from his sword, stunning the audience. Whoa. What's that? It's the wind sword. People couldn't help but marvel at his talent. To be so proficient with a sword at that age. He truly is a genius. With his eyes blazing with killing intent, Gil challenged. Ready, try to block this. If you fail, I'll tear you to shreds. Gil stomped his foot, shattering the arena floor, and shot forward like a whirlwind. He swung a deadly sword strike, creating sharp, blue streaks of light aimed straight at the motionless young man. Gil closed in on his opponent with terrifying speed. Preparing to deliver a brutal finishing blow, Kai threw a powerful, direct punch, giving Gil no time to react. A shocking explosion occurred, sending the genius of the wind sword flying into the distance. To the astonishment of everyone present, the audience was stunned silent as they saw Gil embedded in the arena wall, creating a deep crater. That's what you get for always acting so high and mighty and underestimating your opponent. A bitter pill to swallow, isn't it? Folks, Gil lay in the rubble, his entire body bruised. After just a single blow, he couldn't understand in his frustration how this could have happened to a genius like him. Meanwhile, Kai was also shocked, looking at his hand and thinking, whoa, that startled me. You just suddenly sped up and caused chaos everywhere. Horrified whispers spread through the stands. Wait. Is there something wrong with my eyes' black color? They were horrified to realize the abnormality. But black is the color of monsters. Both Captain Rex and Ellie were stunned by this unprecedented sight. Ellie couldn't believe her eyes. She wondered if a human could possess that color. And if the power of black was what had defeated Gil in the blink of an eye. They were stunned. Unable to comprehend whether this was a human or a monster, Kai stood alone in the arena. His legs still shrouded in thick black smoke. Seeing the strange attitude and terrifying silence of the crowd, he began to feel confused. Why are they reacting like this? Kai worriedly asked himself if he had done something wrong to make everyone look at him with such fear and prejudice. The competition continued. His opponents took to the stage one by one. In the arena, Kai's opponent stumbled back in panic and screamed, "Don't come any closer." To me, he swung his staff, summoning a giant boulder that shot forward. But Kai continued to advance silently. The man screamed in desperation, "I told you not to come closer. Why isn't it working?" Despite the attack, Kai swiped through the rock fragments and delivered a powerful blow, sending his opponent flying with a cry of pain. The announcer's voice echoed throughout the arena. The winner is number 286. Kai continued to defeat his opponent swiftly, causing the referee to repeatedly call his name in front of the astonished audience. Watching from above, the golden-haired colorist mused to himself. This kid seems promising, doesn't he? The most outstanding one in this batch of applicants. After some observation, Kai had caught his eye. He noted that Kai was the first person to possess the strange black color and asserted, "The rumors will spread quickly. This is our chance to recruit him first." Just then, Team Leader Rex appeared. Those around him hurriedly bowed. Team Leader Rex. When asked why he was there, Rex casually replied, "Just passing by." Referring to the previous monster investigation, Rex sighed and admitted, there's been no progress at all. It's a real headache. Finding that mysterious monster is harder than climbing to the heavens. Seeing the dead end, the examiner enthusiastically introduced the new talent. You can expect good results this time. He emphasized that besides the young lady from the Saiyan family, there was an extremely special candidate. Looking down at the arena, Rex was stunned and exclaimed, "Black color." The examiner continued smugly, I knew you'd notice. He even defeated a top candidate and is showing an overwhelming performance." He believed that with this strength, Kai was certain to be accepted. Witnessing the familiar scene, Ellie asked suspiciously, "Team leader, could that kid be?" Rex confirmed grimly, perhaps. A new color appearing after that strange incident. It's too much of a coincidence." Watching from above, the colorist mused to himself, "For now, let's just keep watching." They had a certain suspicion about Kai, but to find the cause, they would have to wait for an opportunity. Down in the arena, Kai stared at his hands, unable to contain his excitement at the string of victories. He realized this power was truly incredible and was confident that becoming a colorist was definitely possible. However, he had also learned a lesson from a previous failure. Kai silently reminded himself, "But I need to be careful. If I abuse this power like last time and suddenly lose my color, I'll be done for." Suddenly, a fierce explosion of ice occurred right next to him, startling Kai. Stepping out of the cold mist was the girl with number 17. Ellie Saiyan. The announcer's voice echoed throughout the arena. The winner is number 17. Ellie stood calmly next to her completely frozen opponent, witnessing the scene. The crowd endlessly praised the color of the Saiyan family and skills befitting a noble lady. Kai couldn't help but wonder how anyone else could defeat such a formidable opponent. As the two passed each other, Ellie suddenly stopped. She turned to look at Kai with a sharp, scrutinizing gaze, which confused him. He thought, Hey, have we even crossed paths before? Why are you looking at me like that?" Ellie's blue eyes bored into Kai with suspicion. Just then, the golden-haired examiner loudly announced the end of the first round and thanked the candidates for their efforts. He announced that because they were behind schedule, they would move on to the next test immediately, without a break. The eliminated candidates dejectedly left the arena, leaving a tense atmosphere for those who remained. The remaining candidates began to worry. "Oh man. This is tough. Not even a moment to breathe. I hope the next test is easier." As the examiner was about to announce the details of the next test, a voice suddenly cut him off. Wait. Captain Rex stepped forward with a mysterious smile and announced, "The second test will be led by me personally." The appearance of the top-tier colorist sent a shockwave of terror through all the candidates. That person is... They couldn't understand what kind of test this was to bring out a colorist to lead it. Colorist Rex stepped out to the astonishment of all the candidates. He was one of the most powerful colorists in the City of Light, famous for reclaiming the Black Lands and holding the record for the highest number of monster kills. It was said his destructive power was so terrifying that even his own teammates were hesitant to work with him. The crowd worried that if he was in charge of leading the test, it was possible no one would pass. We're really done for this time. The golden-haired examiner worried. Are you sure the captain will be furious if he finds out you changed the test on your own? Rex just smiled casually. It's fine. It's fine. I get yelled at every day anyway. Oh. So you're used to getting yelled at. And you want others to get yelled at like you. He turned to the candidates and announced. The test is very simple. Rex growled. You just have to endure. Instantly. A world-shaking torrent of fire erupted from his body. The wave of heat swept over the candidates, terrifying them. Rex began to envelop each person in a sphere of blazing fire. To everyone's bewilderment, he explained. I'm recreating the environment of an area I once experienced. It's quite hot. He emphasized that the Blacklands were full of harsh environments where humans could barely survive. To Rex, this challenge was nothing more than a warm fireplace. He looked at the crowd coldly. Simple. Right. Just endure the heat and you pass. But if you can't handle this, then you were never qualified to be an explorer in the first place. Just enduring the warm fireplace of the colorist. The terrifying heat made the candidates scream. So hot, you call this a warm fireplace? What kind of hell is the Blacklands? One candidate realized in despair that his abilities couldn't withstand it. No way. Even my abilities can't hold up. Now, all I can do is try to hang on. Watching from a distance, the golden-haired examiner silently assessed. I heard he's been slacking on his training lately. But his skills haven't diminished at all. Those rumors were clearly exaggerated. He was amazed at Rex's control. Being able to envelop so many people with barriers in an instant. Truly the level of someone who has reached the pinnacle is different. You're just stating the obvious. Aren't you? Folks. Suddenly, a cracking sound echoed through the sea of red flames. A sphere of blue ice abruptly appeared, emitting a cold aura. The surrounding candidates could only exclaim in shock. What is that? In the fiery arena, Elisayan easily shattered the heat barrier with her ice power. Witnessing this, Captain Rex couldn't help but be surprised. Oh, this is quite impressive. He realized that the power of the Saiyan family should have been his nemesis. Yet she still broke through it instantly. Rex silently assessed. This girl, you could say she's a true genius. However, he suddenly remembered someone else and wondered. What about that kid? Casting his gaze towards Kai, Rex saw that he was still struggling inside the sphere of fire. He's still trying to hold on somehow. But he can't break it. Well, I didn't expect much anyway. Rex seemed disappointed in Kai. He thought he had potential. But in reality, he was just like the other candidates. In fact, Kai was in a state of extreme panic. I'm done for. What do I do now? He bitterly realized his mistake. I used too much color in the last match. If I had known this would happen, I would have conserved my strength. The situation grew worse as Kai clearly felt his depletion. Damn it, the more I try to hold on, the faster my color depletes. No. My color is draining away. He feared that if his colorless state was exposed, people would look at him differently. He might even be turned into a lab rat. Kai was determined to act. I can't just sit here, I have to find a way. Isn't there anything I can absorb like last time? His gaze suddenly stopped on the energy barrier surrounding him. Something to absorb. In a moment of desperation, a bold idea flashed in Kai's mind. Come to think of it, this barrier is also colored energy. So can't I absorb it? Although he didn't fully understand the limits of this ability yet. Faced with the scorching heat, Kai decided to take a gamble. There's no time to think, let's just try it. He reached out and touched the blazing torrent of fire directly. Instantly, a direct absorption process began. The crimson energy swirled madly into Kai's hand, causing the surrounding candidates to cry out in terror. The scene became chaotic, with intertwining streaks of red and black light. Kai stood at the epicenter of the energy explosion, leaving everyone stunned. What is this? What the hell is going on? Both Captain Rex and the golden-haired examiner were frozen by the unprecedented sight. After a moment of silent observation, Rex broke into an excited grin. It seems this time, we've got a real madman on our hands. Rex never expected Kai to surprise him like this. Kai stood tall in the arena, his hands burning with a powerful black and red energy. The entire arena fell into a breathtaking silence. All eyes were fixed on the young man with the number 286. Kai started to feel flustered by the crowd's reaction. He broke out in a cold sweat, thinking, this isn't going as planned. Looking around at the stunned faces, he worried silently. Damn it. I've drawn way too much attention. For Ellie, this exam was incredibly important. Amidst the crowd's astonished whispers about the unprecedented appearance of the black color, she silently resolved to prove the strength she had trained for so long. For the sake of her family's reputation. Looking at Kai, People couldn't help but wonder if that was truly a color a human could possess. Though it was just a faint feeling. Ellie couldn't suppress the growing unease within her. Since childhood, she had been taught to always be the best, and was absolutely not allowed to be inferior to anyone. Today, facing a formidable opponent like Kai in the exam, she couldn't help but feel the pressure of her family's burden. Ellie told herself, I can't let my sister down. But she also had to admit that Kai was truly strong. Witnessing his powerful blows, Ellie realized that even if she fought seriously, she wasn't guaranteed to win. She could feel a strange power from Kai, something that couldn't be explained by normal logic. Looking at Kai's back, shrouded in black smoke, Ellie wondered, what on earth is he? But she quickly dismissed the thought and encouraged herself. When I fight Kai later, the result will be different. Just then, Captain Rex came over and put a friendly arm around Kai's shoulder. Rex praised him lavishly. Whoa, was that the power of the black color just now? That was intense, it devoured everything. He pulled Kai along, full of excited curiosity. I can't contain my curiosity anymore. Tell me more about that black color. We can talk privately, to keep it confidential for you. When Kai worriedly asked about the exam results, Rex casually affirmed. Don't worry. At this level, you've passed. I'll take care of it. Kai was stunned. He never expected to become an explorer so quickly. Suddenly, the golden-haired examiner shouted from behind. Hey, don't be so loud. You idiot, Rex, you're doing things your own way again. The exam is still going on. Rex just laughed it off. Sorry, he then continued to lead Kai away, leaving the examiner speechless with frustration. To continue the exam, he had to reluctantly regain his composure as an instructor. The examiner cleared his throat and announced to all the candidates. Ahem. Attention. Everyone, due to an unexpected situation, the exam was temporarily interrupted. But now, the exam will continue, he announced, except for candidate number 17, who broke the barrier on her own. All remaining candidates will have to take a supplementary test. Ellie stood silently. Her sharp eyes followed Kai's back as he gradually disappeared behind the dark cellar door. The heavy door slammed shut, separating him from the bustling arena behind. Captain Rex told Kai to wait by the car and then left to take care of some business. Looking at the surrounding rubble, Kai was shocked to realize this was the very place where he had been thrown into the ink waste pit. Rex returned and thoughtfully mentioned the horrific incident that had leveled this entire area not long ago. He was intentionally probing Kai to see his reaction upon coming here. According to witnesses, a giant creature with a black hand had suddenly appeared and destroyed everything. Rex looked straight into Kai's eyes and pointed out the suspicious coincidence of him being the first person to possess the black color right after that incident. He noted that Kai's ability to devour other colors was a power completely alien to this world. Kai broke out in a cold sweat. He realized this captain had seen through everything from the very beginning. The thought of running crossed Kai's mind. But he quickly understood that he could never escape from a man hailed as a hero by the entire city. Seeing Kai so tense, perhaps Rex had already guessed part of it. Rex admitted that although his main mission was to investigate the scene, he was more interested in Kai's abilities. He explained that normal colors have their own rules and cannot be mixed. But Kai's power ignored all those complex laws. Based on what happened in the second test, Rex was certain that Kai couldn't yet control his ability to absorb everything around him. Faced with the sharp observations of a senior, Kai could only remain silent, unable to utter a word. He had been completely seen through. How could he argue? To learn more about the limits and workings of this power, Rex decided to conduct a practical test. He held out his hand in front of Kai and ordered him, try absorbing my color. Kai panicked and refused, fearing his black energy would harm him. However, Rex just scoffed at the rookie's concern, asserting that he was too green to worry about someone like him. Rex's voice grew grim as he warned that black was the symbol of the Black Lands, an evil force that devours all things. He also reminded Kai that allowing such a dangerous and uncontrollable power to exist was unacceptable, as it could shake the very foundations of the City of Light. He revealed a terrifying secret, though most people don't know it. Humanoid creatures still exist out there. His eyes glowed menacingly as he looked at Kai. If you were to face them, in the worst-case scenario, we might have to dispose of you right here and now. Kai. A chill ran down Kai's spine. But he remained resolute. I understand. Fine. Let's do it. He firmly grasped Rex's arm, not forgetting to add, but if something happens, it's not my fault. In truth, he still couldn't master and control that power at will. The moment the two energies touched, a terrifying shockwave erupted, enveloping them both in a thick mist of energy. Rex's fire energy began to flood into Kai's body, making him scream in agony. The bone-deep pain sent Kai into a complete panic. So hot. Stop it, I'm going to die. Damn it, I can't control it anymore. He felt as if lava was boiling in his veins. burning every cell from the inside out. The overwhelming power from the captain completely subdued Kai. He realized with a shock. This overwhelming power. So this is the color of Rex. The man they call a hero, a heat like lava that melts anything it touches. It's truly terrifying. Standing at the center of the sea of fire, Rex remained calm, observing and silently assessing. It's absorbing me relentlessly. As if it's starving. He noted that although this ability was terrifying, because Kai was still weak, truly strong individuals could resist it. However, Rex also had to admit that it was still extremely dangerous to most people. And what he had shown in the exam was definitely not his full strength. He stared intently at the hands, absorbing his energy, and thought to himself, I also want to know how color is absorbed like this. A torrent of black flame erupted violently, devouring everything around in an explosion of dark energy. The pillar of black fire exploded violently, stunning Captain Rex. Unable to control the absorption, Kai has transformed into a truly terrifying form. Shrouded in shadow, he silently noted, that form. If I didn't know better, I would have thought it was a demon. Rex immediately confirmed his suspicion. So, you were the culprit behind that incident. He knew he needed to learn many things from this young man. But first, he had to subdue the madness unfolding before him. Rex concentrated his incineration energy into his hand, preparing to act to stop Kai from losing control any further. Meanwhile, Kai was struggling with growls and a series of dark invitations echoing in his mind. The voices constantly urged him. That intense color. Give me more. I need it. It's so full of power. No need to hold back. Kai clutched his head in pain. Why do these voices keep appearing in my head, though he tried to resist and ordered them to be quiet? They greedily refused to stop, still urging Kai to continue. Absorb it. You want it too. Don't you? All this color is yours. In a fit of madness, Kai's eyes blazed as he roared. Shut up and obey. A powerful shockwave emanated from him, pushing back all the surrounding dark energy. When the dust settled, Kai collapsed to the ground. Panting from exhaustion, Rex stood silently, observing. Silently amazed that he could suppress such a terrifying power on his own. Kai was stunned, thinking to himself, huh, that was crazy. I thought I was a goner for sure. Why did I suddenly lose control like that? He looked worriedly towards Rex, afraid of having revealed the true nature of his power in front of a top-tier colorist. Kai realized he needed to seriously investigate the secrets of his own being. He hesitated before speaking, breaking the silence. I was caught off guard because the power hit me harder than I expected. But, does this mean it was a success? Rex flashed a mysterious smile. Haha. This is really interesting. If you want something, you have to accept the risks. Good. That's enough for the test. Rex acknowledged his strength but didn't forget his own mission. He got straight to the point. By the way, you must have realized I'm the one assigned to handle the incident that happened here. And since I've accepted the mission, I have to find the culprit. Captain Rex looked straight at Kai and stated, right in front of me is an extremely suspicious suspect. Kai broke out in a cold sweat. Speechless, before the overwhelming presence of the senior, Rex explained, many people are more interested in this destruction than you think. He emphasized that because Kai was so conspicuous, once rumors of his abilities and strange black color spread, people would easily point to him as a source of disaster. Furthermore, Rex gave an estimated damage cost of hundreds of millions, something a poor kid like Kai could never afford. He warned, if the city leaders consider your ability a threat, they might exile you. Or worse, turn you into a lab rat for experiments. Kai panicked, realizing he was trapped. Damn it. There's no way out. He thought resentfully that he was also a victim of the assassins. But now he had no way to clear his name. Just then, Rex offered a way out. If you follow me, maybe I can sort things out for you. Not knowing what to do, hearing Rex's offer was like being thrown a life raft when he was about to drown. Kai bowed low. I will follow you. Sir. Rex smiled but quickly corrected him. Hear me out first. I'm not saying I'll solve everything for free. He required Kai to perform a few tasks for him in exchange for his protection. Faced with the prospect of overwhelming debt or being experimented on, Kai was ready to trade anything. Instead of being in massive debt or becoming a test subject, if I have to pay with my body, I'm willing to do anything. He forced a smile and promised, yes. Of course. I'll do whatever you need. Rex smirked mysteriously at his eagerness. Oh. Anything. You're like a lost little lamb. Aren't you? Looking out the window of the exploration vehicle as it crossed the desolate lands, Kai thought with emotion. I've never traveled this far before. The roar of the engine echoed as the giant vehicle glided over the barren ground. This is my first step as a pioneer. Suddenly, Gil's voice broke his train of thought. Hey. You with the black hair. His annoyance was palpable. You're really getting on my nerves. Stop that stupid staring and sit down. Will you? Kai silently observed his new teammates sitting across from him. He realized that the job of a pioneer was just as he had expected. But having to be on the same team with these people, he still couldn't believe his eyes. Is this really happening? What was once just his dream? He was now living it. The only problem was that his teammates weren't as friendly as he thought. It all started with Captain Rex's offer a short while ago. He had chosen an unexplored area and stated, I'm going to need your help. You. Seeing Kai's worried expression, Rex laughed reassuringly. Haha. Don't make that face. You're not going alone. So don't worry too much. He explained that all the new recruits would be participating. And he was just one of them. Rex announced that the company would soon release the plan for this expedition. Specific details will be announced later. Just don't be late. Before turning to leave, he sternly instructed, and remember to show up at the designated location. Got it. Rex was eager for him to go. It was unclear if he wanted to support him or if there was some other motive. Back in the present, when Kai boarded the vehicle, Ellie and Gil were already waiting there. He silently understood that Rex's earlier intervention had messed up the original testing process. So, to ensure fairness, all the other candidates were given another chance. That's how the others passed the supplementary test to be on this trip, especially Ellie, who had the highest score, had personally requested to join Rex's team to prove her strength. Facing Kai, Gil radiated killing intent and gritted his teeth in frustration. I can't believe I was humiliated by that kid. Gil still couldn't swallow his bitter defeat. He gritted his teeth and thought, I was just careless for a second. Don't underestimate others like that. Friend, there's always someone stronger. He glared at Kai menacingly. Don't think you'll be so lucky next time. When this expedition is over, you just wait. You better be ready then. Gil arrogantly claimed that if Lavian wasn't standing right behind him, he would have crushed Kai on the spot. However, Ellie coldly threw a bucket of cold water on him. Forget it. You just lose to him again anyway. You're just wasting your breath. Kai is way out of your league. Gil could only exclaim in shock. What Kai was confused, wondering if Ellie was on Gil's side, but she unexpectedly declared, and I'm the one who will fight Kai. To Kai's astonishment, Ellie asserted that they had already reached an agreement through a look earlier. She turned to Gil with a sharp gaze. Since you lost, just be quiet and wait your turn. Standing between two hostile opponents, Kai could only break out in a cold sweat. Worrying. I don't know if this is going to be okay. Why did I have to open my big mouth and offend both of them? The exploration vehicle glided powerfully over the dark sea, gradually leaving the city lights behind and heading straight into the Black Lands. Arriving at the pioneer outpost, Aurora, Kai was overwhelmed by the bustling activity and scale of the place. He silently compared it to his previous solo trips. When I came to the Black Lands before, I was always alone. I had no idea S-rank companies operated on such a large scale. Supplies, infrastructure, everything. While he was engrossed in observation, Kai was startled by a hand gently poking his cheek. What are you thinking about? Recognizing his close friend, Kai exclaimed with joy. Mary, you're here, Mary smiled brightly. Heha. Of course I have to be here for Kai's first mission. The close friend spoke as she opened her coat, revealing a black cat curled up inside. Nero is here too. Look, Kai took his little friend and sincerely thanked Mary for taking care of him all this time. Mary excitedly shared that this was a great opportunity for her to showcase her skills and gain more experience at a prestigious company like Aurora. Suddenly, a loudspeaker announcement echoed throughout the base, requesting everyone to assemble in preparation for entering the Black Lands, according to the plan. Kai quickly handed Nero back to his friend. I have to go. Take care of Nero for me. Okay, Mary hugged Nero tightly and smiled reassuringly. Don't worry. Mary was worried, as this was her friend's first mission and he had no experience. She warned, don't do anything reckless. Kai smiled and waved goodbye. See you later. Mary hugged Nero and gently comforted him. Nero, don't be sad. Suddenly, the black cat struggled out of her arms and shot away. Mary was stunned and shouted, Nero. She watched in shock as Nero slipped into Kai's shadow and disappeared completely. Mary could only stammer in amazement. Huh, what's happening? Kai. Wait, before she could call out to let her friend know the cat was with him, Kai had blended into the crowd of explorers, thinking to himself, this won't be a big deal. Right. Ahead of them was the border outpost, the barrier separating them from the deadly Black Lands. A female commander with orange hair gave a loud order. Get ready. We're about to enter the Black Lands. She stressed to the entire team. Remember, safety is always first. According to accurate reports, dangerous. Previously unknown creatures have appeared in Area 21. They even found the corpse of an A-rank creature. Proof of the extreme harshness of this place. The female commander, Arancia, demanded that everyone remain vigilant. Just then, a subordinate rushed over to report. Commander Arancia, seeing his serious expression, she asked. "What is it?" the soldier stammered. Team leader Rex is leading the new recruits somewhere else. They left the formation on their own without permission. Arancia's eyes widened in fury at her colleague's undisciplined action. He always does things on a whim, putting everyone in a passive position like this. Rex has a bit of a quirky personality, doesn't he? The soldier reminded Arancia that she was currently the sole commander here. Arancia clutched her head in frustration. Ugh. Him, again. The soldier pleaded. Please. Senior. Just bring the rookies back safely. Horfold, meanwhile, in a dark and treacherous mountain pass. Rex was quietly leading Kai, Ellie, and Gil deeper inside. Noticing something was off, Gil spoke up. Team leader. It seems our team is going somewhere else. The whole team knew the route had changed from what was planned. Kai worriedly asked Captain Rex if this journey was truly safe. Rex calmly explained that their destination was very special, and that the group consisted of promising new recruits. Kai wondered why Gil and Ellie were with them when he thought it was a private mission. Gil immediately snapped. You think I'd let someone like you go ahead of me? Ellie also coldly stated that she didn't want Kai to get all the benefits from Rex's training. Faced with the tension among the new recruits, Rex smiled reassuringly, saying he would ensure everyone's safety and asking them to cooperate as a real team. Hearing their senior, the new recruits fell silent and stopped arguing. They focused on the goal ahead. The group began to venture deeper into the dark blacklands. Monsters continuously rushed out to attack from all sides. Ellie swung her ice sword, creating sharp slashes that took down enemies in an instant. She realized the harshness of this place, with its suffocating atmosphere and endless stream of monsters, was completely different from a normal training session. Ellie checked her energy meter and reminded herself to calculate carefully to avoid running out too soon. She silently resolved not to let herself be left behind by Kai. Observing Kai standing over a monster's corpse, Ellie suddenly asked, "Why don't you use any items, even during the entrance exam before?" Kai awkwardly admitted that because they were too expensive, he had never owned or used any. Instead, he believed he could overcome everything with his own strength. He would rise from nothing because he was too poor. Gil, standing nearby, it was shocked to hear that Kai had never used an item. In this world, items were essential weapons for knights to channel their colors and defeat monsters. Gil was stunned as he recalled Kai's powerful punch from before and realized he had been utterly defeated by someone fighting bare-handed. Without any weapon support, he gritted his teeth, silently vowing to one day crush Kai with his own hands to wash away the shame. Witnessing the tense atmosphere among the new recruits, Captain Rex was highly amused, thinking that only geniuses could create such drama. Kids with jealousy and a competitive spirit will never stop striving to be better. He urged the group to move on quickly, as their goal was just ahead. Rex excitedly announced, "Let's hurry, time to enjoy today's party." The team trudged through the steep cliffs of the Black Lands towards their mysterious destination. After defeating the monsters, Captain Rex spoke up. "That's enough of a break." Ellie reminded everyone not to let their guard down as the journey had just begun. The group decided to rest for 10 minutes before continuing. Gil wearily took out a vial of green liquid and muttered, I didn't expect to lose so much color." Kai curiously watched as Gil drank the entire vial of personal ink. It was a special, refined ink that helped restore color and energy. An essential but extremely expensive item for explorers. Each type of ink was specially crafted to match an individual's color, making them incredibly expensive. Watching Ellie and Gil casually drink the luxurious liquid like water, Kai couldn't help but feel envious. Rich people have it so good. However, he told himself he didn't need it. Kai silently approached the corpse of a monster and held out his hand. To his teammates' astonishment, a huge torrent of black energy suddenly erupted from the corpse and was completely absorbed by Kai. After the absorption, Kai clenched his fist, feeling refreshed. Phew. That's better. I'm fully recovered. Ellie approached him worriedly and asked, "Kai, are you really okay?" Kai casually affirmed that he had done this many times and was fine. Gil, standing beside them, couldn't help but shudder in horror at his ability to devour monsters. Damn. This guy's insane. He just absorbs them like it's nothing. Kai's method of replenishing color was so unusual that anyone seeing it for the first time would be just as surprised. Just then, Captain Rex announced that the break was over and urged the group to continue on their way. After moving through the cliffs for a while, he stopped and announced, "We're here." Before the group was a giant black barrier, radiating a heavy pressure in the middle of the mountain pass. Kai was stunned. A black barrier, what is this? Captain Rex stared at the dark sphere and explained that this was the reason he had brought them to this location. He began to gather a blazing fire energy in the palm of his hand and coldly commanded, "See for yourselves." Captain Rex launched a powerful fire attack straight at the black sphere. But instead of shattering, the barrier madly absorbed the energy and became even stronger. He turned to explain to the group, "See, if you try to break it with force, it will absorb that power and get even harder." Looking at Kai, Rex smiled. "It's quite similar to your skill, isn't it? That's why I had a feeling your power could break this barrier. That's quite a coincidence, isn't it, folks?" He revealed that inside the barrier was a path leading to an ancient ruin, where they had to find the main objective of this mission, a star fragment. Kai, Gil, and Ellie were all bewildered by the unfamiliar name. "Huh, what's that? I've never heard of it." Rex just replied mysteriously, It's something the City of Light is desperately searching for. I'll explain later. For now, let's break that barrier." Kai nodded in confirmation. Right." Then he silently walked towards the thick black mist. He slowly reached out his hand and touched the surface of the barrier. Instantly, the black energy was sucked back into Kai's body, creating a violent vortex of energy. Witnessing this, Rex cheered with delight. "Whoa, it's working, the barrier is disappearing." The giant sphere quickly vanished under Kai's absorption power. Rex praised him lavishly. "Hey Kai, your power is really useful." However, unlike his previous energy absorptions, Kai's face showed clear signs of fatigue and strain after taking in such a large amount of energy from the barrier. Was it because there was too much energy? Suddenly, the ground beneath them shook violently, causing Gil and Ellie to panic. What was that? What's that tremor? That was too loud." They worried that the noise would attract the attention of dangerous creatures. "If we make this much noise, the monsters will..." Before he could finish, heart-wrenching roars echoed through the mountain pass. From the darkness, a horde of pitch-black monsters with glowing eyes and sharp teeth began to emerge, surrounding the group from all sides. Before the group could react to the sudden situation, Captain Rex flashed a triumphant smile as he saw the monsters approaching. "Haha, looks like the whole pack has shown up." He ordered the group, "We'll handle the monsters while Kai breaks the barrier. Wipe them out." Instantly, Gil shot forward like a whirlwind, his sword tearing through the black phantoms. On the other side, Ellie was no less impressive, creating sharp pillars of ice that pierced through rows of enemies. Watching the new recruits fight with such vigor, Rex stood calmly in the middle of the encirclement and thought to himself, I was going to step in and help if needed, but it seems I don't have to." Blazing fireballs orbited around him, protecting him from the monster's pounces. Rex noted with satisfaction, "I thought I'd have to clean up after these rookies. But who knew they'd do so well? They can take care of themselves. I'm so bored leading all these outstanding rookies. This teacher sure has it easy." Meanwhile, Kai was still focusing all his energy on dealing with the violently swirling black energy from the barrier. Kai began to feel that something was wrong. He worriedly thought, something's not right. Why do I feel a similar power from this barrier? Is it because it's also black? He realized that if he lost focus for even a moment, this energy would instantly devour his own color. But then, Kai quickly regained his composure when he discovered a truth. But this power is weaker than mine. So, he and his opponent were both using techniques to absorb each other's energy. The stronger side would win. He decisively poured his strength into absorbing the entire stream of black energy into his palm. After a struggle, Kai breathed a sigh of relief. Phew. Finally absorbed it all. Before Kai's eyes was a bottomless, pitch-black pit. He was amazed. But, is this the entrance to the ruins? I can't even see the bottom. He quickly turned back to report. Captain, I've cleared the barrier. Rex smiled in approval. Oh. Well done, excellent work. Kai, my intuition was right. He waved to the others who were still busy fighting. The barrier is gone, just fight your way out and gather here. Seeing Ellie and Gil still not stopping, Rex shouted, You don't have to kill them all, seeing his students still engrossed in the slaughter over there. Rex's expression suddenly changed. His eyes glowed with a menacing red light. A terrifying pressure wave from him sent both Gil and Ellie flying, causing them to collapse to the ground in shock. Gil yelped. What was that? Beneath their feet, the ground cracked into a web of intricate lines, like a strange formation. Captain Rex gritted his teeth. No way. Huh. Things could never go this smoothly. Could they? His voice was low and wary. We received a report about a dangerous monster in this area. and it seems that thing has appeared. In the distance, standing amidst a mountain of monster corpses, there was a lone figure holding a massive black sword. Looks like we're out of time to relax. The stranger appeared as a dark warrior, his face hidden behind a grotesque mask. With one eye glowing a brilliant white, Rex immediately turned and ordered the new recruits. Everyone, listen up, Kai was alarmed. Captain, he was firm. You kids get to the ruins. Now work together and find the star fragment. You can do it. Kai was stunned and questioned. Wait. Just us, that's it, no more talking. Go, Rex coldly pushed all three of them straight into the bottomless pit. Kai only had time to scream in astonishment. Ah, Captain Rex, he yelled as he was free-falling through the air. How are we supposed to do this on our own? We haven't been briefed, guided, or even shown what the star fragment looks like. This is like telling us to find a needle in a haystack. At the top of the pit, Rex stood alone, his gaze fixed on the dark warrior approaching. After the hard fall, Kai painfully got up. Ow. That hurts. He looked around the dark space and wondered, is this? Inside the ruins, as he turned on his light, Kai froze, his eyes wide with terror at the unbelievable sight. Before him was a modern city with towering skyscrapers, all in desolate, chilling ruins. He looked down at the endless rubble and wondered how a place like this could exist so deep underground. Meanwhile, Gil started complaining about the enveloping darkness, which annoyed Ellie. She snapped, "Stop whining and move towards that light over there," seeing his two teammates. Kai breathed a sigh of relief. Oh, there you are, thank goodness. I thought I was the only one who got lost. The three lost children had finally found each other. However, Gil was resentful, blaming Kai for their difficult wandering. Ellie immediately retorted, asserting that Gil wasn't any better. The three of them stood in the vast space. Gil was amazed to realize the scale of this ancient civilization was far beyond his imagination. He started to worry about the mission. They called it a star fragment. Right, how are we supposed to find that thing in this giant pile of rubble? We don't even know what it looks like. Kai silently agreed. If they just wandered aimlessly, they would definitely be trapped here forever. He suddenly thought of Nero and wished his little friend was here to guide the way. Sensing his master needed him, Nero didn't hide any longer. A mew rang out, startling Kai. Nero suddenly appeared at his feet. Kai exclaimed in shock. Nero, why are you here? Seeing Ellie staring at Nero with a scrutinizing gaze, Kai broke out in a cold sweat. Thinking he was done for, he realized that making excuses now was useless. But then, an idea flashed in his mind. This could be a good opportunity. I can't hide Nero forever anyway. Instead, I just need to prove how useful he is. Deciding to face the situation, Kai called everyone over. Hey, everyone, come here for a second. He flashed a confident smile and announced, I just found an easy way to track down the star fragment. Gil was skeptical. So, to sum it up, that little creature is your pet, and it's going to lead us to the star fragment. When his teammates understood his point, Kai firmly asserted that the group would soon find their target, thanks to Nero. However, Ellie was still very suspicious. She argued that if such a rare creature existed, a noble lady like her couldn't possibly not know about it. Despite Ellie's objections, Kai insisted he was telling the truth while she was holding Nero up to inspect him. Kai said firmly, All right, I'll prove it to you. Nero, let's go, he urged his little friend. Show this fool how amazing you are. Nero let out an excited cry and shot out of Kai's arms, making everyone exclaim in surprise. Instantly, its body swirled into a brilliant white light, illuminating a large area of the dark space. Witnessing this magical transformation, both Gil and Ellie were frozen, unable to believe their eyes. It was the first time in their lives they had seen a glowing cat. Nero led the way, forming a sparkling streak of light that guided the group through the rubble. Gil was still in shock. No way. A creature that obeys a human and has special abilities. I've never heard of such a thing. Where did he find it? Ignoring Gil's curiosity, Kai watched Nero intently and asked, Nero, you can feel it. Right, the star fragment is somewhere around here. Isn't it? Seeing Nero respond with a familiar cry, Kai smiled trustingly. I'm counting on you. Nero focused intensely, his eyes glowing brightly, leading the group deeper into the maze of rubble. Kai cried out with anticipation. Oh, did it find something? The streak of light from Nero extended, pointing straight at a dark entrance leading deep underground. Looking into the deep, dark shaft, Kai started to worry. Over there, for those afraid of heights or depths. Seeing this is pretty daunting. He hesitated, looking down into the abyss. We've already gone pretty deep. But how much further do we have to go? Seeing Kai hesitate, Gil smirked mockingly. What are you waiting for, if you're scared? You can stay behind. His pride stung. Kai retorted sharply. Who said I'm scared? He then stepped forward decisively. All right. I'm going in. Inside was a long, dark corridor with towering walls, looking like a giant ancient research facility. Kai looked around in amazement. This area is bigger than I thought. What was this place used for? Suddenly, Nero abruptly changed direction. Exciting Kai. Nero changed course. It must have found something. The little cat shot towards a large door at the end of the corridor. A loud thud echoed as a giant metal foot stomped on the ground. Stunning Kai. Before the group was a colossal machine, looming out of the darkness. Gil admitted in surprise. Wow. It really found something. But what it found, none of the three of us know what that thing is. Kai couldn't believe his eyes. What? Is that he realized this thing was completely different from any normal creature they had ever faced. A beam of light scanned over Ellie, displaying her characteristic blue color code. Immediately after, it was Gil's turn to be scanned, and his green color code also appeared on the machine's screen. Kai quickly realized its intention. A hex code scan. It's checking our colors. As the light began to envelop Kai, he held his breath, waiting for the result. Ling 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 ling. The absolute black color appeared, causing the machine's system to sound a red alert. It coldly announced, Witch's color detected. Classified as a threat. Commencing elimination. Without a second's warning, the machine delivered a 1,000-ton punch towards Kai, making his teammates scream in terror. Kai was sent flying. This thing. It scanned me and then immediately attacked me. Damn it, this is too dangerous. A surprise attack like this could easily kill me. Seeing the opponent had no intention of stopping, he growled. Anyway, you started it. So get ready to take a hit. Kai charged forward, delivering a direct punch to counter the steel hand of the machine. A violent shockwave occurred. Kai gritted his teeth, enduring the pressure. Why is this thing so hard too? He wondered in frustration what the hell this monstrous thing was to have such terrifying strength. Gil and Ellie immediately rushed in to help, but their sharp sword strikes seemed useless against its tough steel armor. Ellie realized that even with all her color power, it was like a mosquito biting an ox. It's not even scratched, she thought. Maybe because the opponent isn't a living creature. My attacks are ineffective. Observing closely, she noticed an ink core right in the middle of the machine's chest, and thought, is that the ink in its core? If that's the weak point, I have to attack it. Meanwhile, Kai was continuously dodging the enemy's massive sweeping attacks. He bitterly realized that his normal attacks were completely useless and wondered how to escape this situation. In this dire predicament, Kai suddenly had an idea. He thought of enveloping himself in black color like before. However, fearing it would consume too much energy, he decided to focus all his power into his fist. A mad torrent of black energy swirled around Kai's hand. He gathered his strength for a decisive blow. Now, try sweeping me again. You were just sweeping me like trash, weren't you? The direct punch slammed into the machine's chest, creating a world-shaking explosion. The energy core shattered, causing the metal giant to crumble into pieces and collapse before the overwhelming power of the black color. Kai panted, exhausted after the attack that had consumed so much of his strength. Meanwhile, Gil and Ellie approached the devastated scene with looks of utter amazement. Kai picked up a strange sphere from the rubble. He realized this core looked completely different from what he usually saw and thought, if I bring this back to Mary, she'll probably love it. However, the brief moment of peace was quickly shattered by Ellie's shout. Kai, what was that power just now? She demanded a clear explanation so she could use it as a reference for their future rematch. Gil also grumbled resentfully. Hey, if you had that, you should have used it sooner. I wasted my color for nothing. Kai could only reply wearily. Why are you complaining like you're the victim? It consumes a lot of color, so I really don't want to use it unless I have to. As they were moving forward, the group froze as a stone door suddenly opened on its own. Mysteriously, Nero cried out continuously. Signaling something, Kai asked worriedly. Nero. What is it? Is there something over there? He cautiously looked into the pitch-black darkness. I can't see anything. Are you? Sure, it's safe. The moment his hand touched the black surface, Kai realized the similarity. It's just like the barrier we saw up there. Suddenly, a massive torrent of black energy erupted, violently sucking everything inside, terrifying the group. Whoa, hey, it's sucking everything in, Gil yelled. Damn it, why did you touch it? Ellie only had time to warn. Everyone, watch out. Desperate screams echoed as all three were dragged into the void. After being swallowed, the group fell into a dark space. Gil groaned. Ow. Now what? This is horrible. It's so dark. I can't see a thing. As Kai was checking on everyone, Gil looked down at his hands in shock. My color. He panicked, realizing a harsh truth. I've lost my color. Before Kai's eyes was a horrifying sight. Both Gil and Ellie had lost all their color, leaving only a dull gray. Gil trembled, unable to believe his eyes. What the hell? What the hell is going on? They had never imagined a time when they would become colorless like this. Their minds were in utter chaos. At the Eastern Government Building, the director was furious, slamming a stack of reports on his desk and yelling. He harshly questioned his subordinate. Have you found any trace of that kid yet? The secretary trembled as he reported that the young man was currently on an exploration mission with Captain Rex. Rex even sent a message telling the director not to interfere in unnecessary matters, which only made him more furious. The director gritted his teeth in worry. Damn it, that's the black color. Does he not know how dangerous it is? Taking it onto the battlefield, the black color was something very mysterious. Why was he so afraid of it, he asserted. Even though Rex is a true hero, this action has gone too far. The director's fear stemmed from the fact that a monstrous creature had just appeared in the city, causing the council members to panic. Fearing the black wave had begun, he tore at his hair, not knowing how to explain the situation to avoid being blamed while being unable to solve anything. In his rage, a mocking voice rang out. Hey. It seems our director is having another tantrum today. The girl's teasing dissipated the tense atmosphere in the office. It was Camellia, captain of the Dawn Pioneer team. She calmly advised him to calm down to avoid returning to the hospital. Camellia asserted that she understood his worries, but Rex was not the type to act without thinking. Camellia believed that Rex was a reliable guardian, and that perhaps this dangerous individual would bring them unexpected results. She leisurely took a sip of tea and emphasized, what we need to do now is not to panic or worry, but to trust in him. However, the taste of the tea seemed to be not to her liking, making her grimace. Ugh. This is unpleasant. The director was no better off. Looking at the spilled sugar cubes, he admitted that if Rex was there, the worst-case scenario wouldn't happen. But he still couldn't understand how people could drink that stuff. He snapped at Camellia. Focus on the conversation. She could only laugh in response. Yeah. I'm not deaf. I know. Another quirky character. No less strange than her senior. Camellia understood that the director's vigilance towards the black color stemmed from his obsession with the Black Witch and the Black Wave of the past. She recounted the painful history when humanity was nearly wiped out by monstrous creatures that plunged the world into darkness and turned it into the Black Lands. Camellia warned that, although the city had experienced many waves, big and small, disaster would surely strike again. Given the recent unusual appearance of monsters and the bearer of the black color, she believed they needed to prepare as much strength as possible for the future. Camellia advised the director to utilize everything, including the black color, and find a more clever way to persuade the council. The director could only sigh in frustration. Haha. Easier said than done. Looking at Kai's file, the director silently resolved to do his best, because perhaps in the future, the entire City of Light would have to rely on this kid, because his difference might just be their salvation. Returning to the present, in the dark space, Kai was stunned, wondering. What's going on? Gil screamed in panic upon realizing all their color had completely vanished. He turned to question why Kai alone still retained his color. Kai could only think to himself that perhaps because he originally possessed the black color, he wasn't affected, while Gil and Ellie felt their bodies completely drained of strength, to the point of exhaustion. Kai felt fine. He realized this wasn't the first time he had been in a state of color loss. Since entering this space, a strange feeling had enveloped Kai. He focused his mind and began to see a mystical white light appear right before his eyes. Around them, countless floating symbols suddenly appeared, along with eerie whispers echoing throughout the space. Unable to bear the hypnotic, eerie sounds, Gil roared, demanding the hidden entity to reveal itself immediately. Kai realized these sounds were very similar to the whispers he had heard before, but they had a different tone. A bad feeling washed over him, making Kai believe that something strange was about to happen. Right behind them, a long-haired black shadow silently materialized from the void. Kai's eyes widened in terror as he faced the monstrous creature that had just appeared. Gil and Ellie were also frozen in fear at its terrifying form. Without any warning, the pitch-black entity suddenly closed in on the group. The three of them didn't know how this situation had come about so quickly and unexpectedly. They could only stand rooted to the spot, staring at it. It slowly extended a long finger and pointed it straight at Kai's face. The moment that finger touched his forehead, Kai's eyes glowed a brilliant white in utter shock. A giant purple-black vortex suddenly appeared, swallowing the entire city into the void. Under a blood-red sky, ghosts and giant monsters emerged from the rubble, destroying everything in their path. A pitch-black sun reigned high above. Surrounding it were skeletal monsters with countless lurking eyes. Amidst the chaos, a girl with blank white eyes appeared mysteriously. Kai stared in shock into the endless void. He wondered in his subconscious. Is this my memory? Or is this reality? Who am I? Where do I come from? 1,000 questions flooded his mind. Then, from within a blinding light, a voice rang out. All right. I need to give you a name. Your name is Kai. The figure urged him. Go and find your own color and light. And Kai snapped awake. He clutched his head, screaming in pain. Ha! The pain pierced his very soul, causing him to collapse. His breathing was ragged. Ugh. Damn it. What was that vision? It's making me feel so restless and uncomfortable. But in that moment of fragmented memory, a name suddenly surfaced. But at the end of that memory, Rumien. Behind him, his two friends were also trapped in their own minds. Gil was swinging his sword wildly, while Ellie had collapsed, clutching her head in pain. Come on. Attack me. You bastard. What did I do wrong? Die. All of you. Get out of my sight, I'm sorry. Sister, please forgive me, I won't do it again. I promise, forgive me, it's my fault, I'm sorry. It's unclear if that memory had anything to do with him. But it threw him and his teammates into emotional turmoil. Like a psychological attack that targeted each person's deepest weakness. Kai looked at his teammates and worried. They don't look good at all, he told himself. This place is too strange. I shouldn't stay here long. I have to leave immediately. Suddenly, a familiar cry rang out, startling Kai. Seeing Nero was safe and sound, he breathed a sigh of relief. Nero. Are you okay? Are you all right? Nero continuously jumped around as if trying to point something out, making Kai wonder. What is it? Is there something up ahead? He decided to trust his little friend. All right. Let's go check it out. I just need to follow the path you're making. Right, looking at the exhausted Ellie and Gil, Kai pondered. But I have to deal with them first. He asked Nero if its ability could help them stabilize. Nero immediately emitted a brilliant light that enveloped the two unconscious people. Seeing their complexions gradually improve, Kai exclaimed. Oh. Great, it seems to be working, thanks to Nero. Ellie and Gil were more lucid. But they hadn't fully recovered. Kai told Nero to stay and protect his teammates. Just stay put. I'll go check it out. He trudged along, following the guiding streak of light through the pitch-black darkness. Though he had walked quite a distance, there was still nothing but void around him. Kai grew impatient. I've walked pretty far, but I still don't see anything. The mysterious whispers began to surround him. And these mysterious whispers, a voice echoed in his head. No color will be able to touch you. Kai gritted his teeth in annoyance. Ugh. This is so irritating. Suddenly, a point of light flashed at the end of the path, making Kai stop. Huh, there's something there, could it be? He rushed towards the light with overflowing hope. Before Kai's eyes was a giant structure, glowing brilliantly in the dark space. He burst out in joy. I finally found it, the star fragment. It seemed he had finally found the objective his senior had told him about. Approaching the star fragment, Kai was amazed by its strange shape and light. Completely different from what he had imagined. He wondered if each fragment had a unique form. What's important is to get it and get out of here quickly, Kai told himself. He didn't want to stay in this bizarre place for another second. The moment his hand touched it, a brilliant, multicolored light exploded, enveloping his entire body. Stunning Kai. He was horrified to realize his absorption ability had once again activated automatically and uncontrollably. What is this? My absorption ability activated on its own again. The mission was to retrieve the star fragment, not absorb it. Looking at the swirling light, Kai reassured himself that it was probably just a temporary effect. When the light subsided, he found himself still standing in the dark space. But he could feel a distinct change around him. The pitch-black space was dissipating, Kai observed as the thick darkness began to recede. The Blacklands truly held terrifying mysteries that no one could have ever imagined. Seeing his teammates in the distance, Kai called out, Hey, are you guys okay? Gil and Ellie were amazed to see Kai still calm amidst the darkness. He demanded to know how he could remain so lucid. But even Kai himself didn't know the answer. He excitedly held up the item in his hand. More importantly, look at this, I found it. The star fragment. Gil was surprised that the item Captain Rex had mentioned looked so small. But he also had to admit that the immense amount of color contained within it was extraordinary. Gil wondered if Kai was really unaffected by everything that had happened. He affirmed that he was completely fine, while celebrating their victory with his teammates. Suddenly, Nero the cat lunged forward, opened its mouth wide, and swallowed the star fragment right in front of the three of them. The group was frozen in shock. Nero, why did you swallow it? Kai yelled in panic as he saw Nero swallow the precious item. Nero, that's not food. Gil went crazy, lunging forward to grab the small cat and yelling, "You idiot, spit it out right now." Seeing his friend being treated so roughly, Kai roared in anger. "Hey, you bastard. What do you think you're doing to Nero?" Though he didn't know why Nero had swallowed it. He didn't want his little friend to get hurt. Amidst the chaos, the ceiling began to crack violently, accompanied by dry, crumbling sounds. The ground shook violently, causing Gil to panic. "What's going on? Why is everything collapsing?" Ellie urged the group. "For now, just run." The three of them had to quickly find a way out before the entire structure collapsed on their heads, dashing with all their might towards the faint light at the end of the corridor amidst a rain of bricks and stones. Meanwhile, in another area of the Black Lands, the main exploration team stood before the corpse of a giant monster. The female commander, Arancia, sighed wearily. "Huh. Damn it." A subordinate standing next to her was curious about the identity of the dangerous creature that had just been defeated, observing the tracks left on the ground. Arancia's face paled in horror. These tracks. Could it be? It really is him. The soldier with her confirmed. That battle-crazed maniac. He's really back. It was the sword demon. A human-shaped monster with destructive power. Arancia realized the situation was more serious than expected, as their opponent was one of the Black Witch's lieutenants. Just hearing the name was enough to make people like her shudder. The reports of chaos in nearby settlements were surely closely related to the sword demon's presence. Realizing the situation was beyond their control, Arancia decisively gave the order. "For now, that's enough investigation. Everyone, prepare to withdraw." Though her subordinate was still dazed and reluctant to waste their efforts, she affirmed that their minimum objective of collecting ink and raw crystals was complete. Arancia didn't want to risk any more, as the main purpose of this trip was just for the new recruits to get acquainted with the Black Lands. She didn't want the inexperienced rookies to lose their lives senselessly. Suddenly, a violent tremor rang out, startling the female commander. Arancia was stunned as she saw a brilliant red fire erupting from the distance and realized it was the color of Captain Rex. She feared the sword demon was present there and screamed as she saw a wave of pressure rushing towards them. "Everyone, take cover." Now, a giant pillar of light slammed into the ground, creating a violent shockwave that enveloped the entire area. Arancia immediately drew her giant mechanical hammer, gathered blazing energy, and swung a fatal blow. Tearing through the space, the fiery explosion wiped out all surrounding threats in an instant. Standing amidst the rubble, Arancia coldly declared, "The expedition is over." Not wanting to endanger the new recruits, she decisively ordered the entire team to return to the outpost while she went to join forces with Captain Rex. The subordinate acknowledged the order, led the others away, and didn't forget to tell her to be careful. Immediately, Arancia shot towards the red light that was continuously exploding on the horizon. At the center of the battlefield, a giant crater had formed, with a web of cracks on the ground. Captain Rex was in a fierce battle with the sword demon, creating deadly intertwining streaks of red and black light. His opponent was a terrifying entity with pitch-black skin and eyes blazing with killing intent. The sword demon swung his massive black sword, which radiated an overwhelming dark aura, making the surrounding space suffocating. The battle between Captain Rex and the sword demon raged fiercely. With powerful clashes, Rex strained to block the pitch-black greatsword that was descending with the pressure of 1,000 tons. Despite possessing powerful fire energy, he could feel the cold, killing intent from his opponent pressing in on him. Suddenly, Rex unleashed a giant pillar of fire to distract him. The sword demon quickly saw through his opponent's intention and thought with admiration, "A nice fant. Old man Risardon." He had figured out the move and quickly dodged. But suddenly, from the sky, Commander Arancia appeared with her giant, blazing mechanical hammer. She decisively delivered a finishing blow. "Let's see you dodge this," facing the pressure from above. The sword demon didn't flinch, but growled a challenge. Then, let's see, a world-shaking blow slammed directly onto the target, shattering the ground and plunging it into a thick cloud of dust and smoke. Arancia stood firmly amidst the devastated scene and said, "I'm late. Aren't I seeing his reinforcements arrive just in time?" Rex breathed a sigh of relief. He flashed his characteristic smile and joked, "Phew, that was a close one. This is no time for jokes." Captain Arancia immediately dismissed her colleague's jest. "Don't say such foolish things." She stared intently at the deep crater, where the enemy's dark shadow was still looming. "My attack hit him, but I'm sure it wasn't enough." Amidst the rubble, the sword demon still stood tall, his blank white eyes blazing menacingly. Captain Rex encouraged Arancia, saying that if she used her color, dealing with that bastard would be much easier. However, he also didn't forget to warn her to never be careless when facing him. Arantia admitted she was lucky to have arrived in time, because no colorist wanted to see Rex have to use his full strength. Rex decisively ended the conversation. Huh. Enough talk. He asserted that Arancia's presence would help them eliminate one of the Black Witch's lieutenants. Immediately, Arancia activated her power, creating circles of blazing orange energy beneath her feet. On the other side, the sword demon seemed to sense something approaching. It seems he also has a weakness and must be more cautious with another opponent present. Meanwhile, down at the cliff face, Gil was grimacing and yelling, "Hey, don't push me. I almost fell." Kai immediately snapped back. Then stop being so slow and climb faster. The two were struggling to climb out of the dark pit and back to the surface. Kai strained to grab the edge of the rock and pulled himself up. Phew. Finally made it. Stepping onto the ground, he breathed a sigh of relief. Finally free from the ancient ruins. Kai told himself this was the first time he was happy to see the Black Lands, and vowed never to return to that place again. However, his joy was short-lived. Kai was stunned to realize he had just gone from the frying pan into the fire. Huh, what the? Captain Rex gritted his teeth and cursed as the sword demon suddenly launched an attack. He yelled a warning to his teammate. Dodge it. Now, the monster moved with terrifying speed. Rex continued to yell. Don't get hit, he shot forward like a phantom, aiming straight for the group of new recruits who had just appeared. In this life-or-death situation, Gil and Ellie immediately drew their weapons and loaded their energy ink. The two of them launched a direct counterattack against the sword demon to protect themselves. Gil and Ellie were completely stunned by the opponent's overwhelming power. Gil's sword was shattered like glass, making him exclaim in horror. What the hell is this? He destroyed reinforced metal with just one strike. In his despair, Gil realized that death was near. I'm going to die. Just as the sword demon's blade swung down, Kai suddenly dashed out to block the blow, taking the fatal strike for his teammate. Kai collapsed. Gil and Ellie screamed in anguish. Kai, you. They never expected the teammate they had viewed with jealousy and distance would sacrifice himself to save them. The monster coldly stepped over Kai's fading body and grabbed Ellie by the neck. Gil lay on the ground, able to do nothing but watch his teammate being threatened. Completely helpless, the sword demon maintained his arrogant demeanor. He growled an order. Make way for me. And don't follow. He began to make a mysterious demand. Where's the key? Give it to me. Looking at the suffocating Ellie, he coldly threatened. If you don't want to, then I'll kill her. With a hostage, he made demands that made Captain Rex grit his teeth in anger, his eyes blazing a deadly red. Beneath him, Kai still lay motionless amidst the rubble. Rex panted, tense, cursing silently. That bastard. The situation had become a complete stalemate. With Ellie's life on the line, the sword demon continued to apply pressure. Decide quickly. Ellie was so scared she started to cry as the blade pressed against her neck. However, amidst the rubble, Kai's hand twitched. Accompanied by a pained groan, Arancia roared in fury. You bastard, what do you want me to give you? What nonsense are you talking about? While everyone was focused on the confrontation, all eyes suddenly shifted to behind the sword demon. Captain Rex exclaimed in shock. Kai, even the demon's face paled in terror as he felt a terrifying killing intent. He trembled as he looked at the figure slowly getting up and stammered. What are you? I thought you were dead. Kai stood tall in the darkness, his entire body enveloped in a swirling black aura like dark tentacles, radiating a terrifying pressure that seemed to suffocate the space around him. His form was no longer human, but a powerful and terrifying entity of darkness, rising from the dead. The sword demon was stunned when he saw the black aura swirling from Kai. He couldn't believe his eyes. And why does a human have the black color? Kai's hand was now completely covered in darkness, radiating a terrifying pressure that made the space around it tremble. The sword demon was immediately pulled back by a massive suction force. Captain Rex and Arancia could only stand frozen in astonishment at this transformation. In Kai's mind, an insistent voice echoed continuously. Come here. Now. Hurry up. The sound didn't stop. And in the blink of an eye, he was upon the sword demon, completely robbing him of the initiative. Witnessing this, Rex exclaimed worriedly, Damn it, Kai, you've been swallowed by the black. What he couldn't believe the young man before him had turned into one of the terrifying black hands. Kai's shadowy hand clamped down on his opponent's face, making the sword demon scream in pain. He's stealing my very existence. From me, he was stunned to realize this wasn't an illusion, but a real power that was devouring his life. In the thick darkness, Kai's eyes blazed menacingly, aimed straight at his enemy. The sword demon was stunned to realize a terrifying truth. Could it be? So it was you. The key. Countless grotesque mouths with sharp teeth emerged from the darkness surrounding Kai, madly biting and devouring the demon's body. He was completely silent, Unable to resist the rise of a destructive power, the grotesque mouths from the darkness bit down ferociously, making the sword demon scream in desperation. I can't let you finish me like this. I'll start with your arms and legs. The moment Kai finished speaking was also the end for the sword demon. Of course, the sword demon wouldn't just give up. He drew his sword and swung with all his might at Kai. A powerful clash occurred, creating a violent shockwave that shook the entire land. The sword demon was equally stunned when he realized his attack was completely ineffective against the shadow defense. It has no effect. He stood stunned, trembling as he watched the terrifying entity loom closer. The shadow tentacles from Kai continued to extend, enveloping the enemy in a deadly vortex. Seeing death was near, the sword demon bitterly admitted in despair. I can't believe it's ending like this. Just as he was about to be completely swallowed, a powerful shout suddenly echoed across the battlefield. Look at me, in the middle of the tension. Why did she have to shout like that? Commander Arancia descended from above with a blazing orange fire. She swung her giant hammer, creating a world-shaking slash of energy, and declared loudly, "It's time for you to die. Got it." The direct blow slammed into the sword demon's stomach. The sword demon silently calculated that he had to retreat for now, as his most important objective, finding the key, was complete. Seeing him suddenly leap away, Arancia was stunned and shouted, "Huh?" She furiously cursed the cowardly demon. "Are you kidding me? You bastard, after causing all this chaos for fun. Now you're running away with your tail between your legs because you're at a disadvantage. Oh no. She ruined everything. Didn't she?" Folks, Arancia quickly reported the enemy's escape route to Captain Rex. "Boss, he's heading that way." Rex immediately determined. "We have to stop him before he reaches the deep chasm." He shot off with terrifying speed, closing in right behind the sword demon, and coldly said, "Hey." Rex's eyes blazed with killing intent as he questioned, "Where do you think you're going?" His hand tightened on the hilt of his blazing red sword, preparing to unleash a decisive blow. A special move called Chroma Flame Extinguisher was unleashed, striking down at the sword demon's position. The powerful slash created a violent shockwave, shattering the ground under the immense heat and pressure. The sword demon groaned in pain. Ugh. He was stunned to realize the power just now. That was Chroma. The wound caused by the red flame made his body begin to disintegrate, no longer able to heal itself. He thought in despair. "I can't recover," Captain Rex calmly declared. "Now we can fight seriously." Before his opponent could even recover, as quick as a flash, he rushed forward and delivered another heavy blow, sending his opponent flying. He gritted his teeth and threatened, "Next time won't end like this." Before disappearing into the void, he still hadn't given up his ambition. "The key will definitely be mine." A shocking explosion occurred. The enemy had managed to escape into the deep darkness. Under Rex's helpless watch, Arancia eagerly suggested, "Boss, let's go after him," but Rex immediately stopped her. "No. Stop. It's too dangerous to go any deeper." Arancia looked resentful. "We almost had him." Rex looked grimly towards the chasm. "We have to. We're not prepared to enter the deep chasm, even with light support. This is as far as we go." He felt frustrated that the Black Lands had inadvertently become a shield for the enemy. The new recruits approached. "I'm sorry. I was just a burden." Rex reassured them. "No. I'm glad you're all still alive. To encounter that thing and have no one die is already very lucky." However, his gaze quickly turned to worry as he looked at Kai. More importantly, what are we going to do with him? Seeing Kai still standing silently in the black mist, Rex wondered if he was still conscious. He was silently terrified when he realized Kai's power had reached a dangerous level, beyond control. If he can't master his own power, could he harm his loved ones? That's the most worrying thing. Suddenly, Rex noticed something unusual. "What's that?" He's absorbing the Black Lands itself. The black energy from the ground swirled madly into Kai. Immediately after, the enveloping layer of darkness gradually dissipated, revealing his white hair and the young man's face. Everyone was stunned. Kai Rex hurriedly checked on him when he saw he had regained consciousness. "Are you awake?" Kai collapsed to the ground from exhaustion the moment the layer of darkness vanished. Looking at his pale body, Captain Rex exclaimed in shock. "Colorless. Why does a colorless person have such terrifying power?" Arancia and the others could only stand silently, watching the young man who had just undergone a terrifying transformation. Meanwhile, in another dark corner of the Black Lands, the sword demon was suffering from severe burns from Rex's fire energy. Two blue-haired girls with two-toned eyes appeared, mocking the red burns on his body. She jeered. "Did you fight with the red color? Whoa. You actually survived a battle with that monster." She relentlessly mocked the sword demon's obsession with fighting. "But really, why are you so obsessed with fighting? Watching you fight is so funny." I could burst out laughing, right? Zaza. Faced with the ridicule, the sword demon just coldly replied, "Shut up and get lost." The blue-haired girl continued to ramble on about Rex's excessive power, asserting that someone who burned himself to fight like him would sooner or later self-destruct. While busy teasing the sword demon, she suddenly remembered something very important and hurriedly asked, "Hey, why didn't you answer my question from before? You noticed it too." "Right. The fact that the Black Witch's veil has opened. You saw it." "Right." She desperately wanted to know how that veil had been opened. Despite his comrade's urging, the sword demon remained completely silent. He thought to himself, "You idiot. You think I'm going to tell you?" In his heart, the sword demon was plotting his own plan. He understood that once the identity of the key, Kai, was revealed, their side would be at a disadvantage. His selfishness surfaced. He decided, "I will take it for myself." Realizing the sword demon was intentionally hiding something, the blue-haired girl laughed sinisterly. "Do you realize that trying to hide it only makes things more obvious?" Hey. What an idiot. She confidently asserted that she would find the answer herself without his help. Based on the sword demon's reaction, she was certain that the event of the veil opening was closely related to the people in the city. To find clues, she decided to continue dispatching monsters to attack as before. A giant and terrifying shadow entity began to rise from the abyss at her command. She declared, "Well then, let's start preparing to raise a tide." Now, returning from the Blacklands, the City of Light appeared brilliant, but the atmosphere in the hospital room was extremely heavy. Captain Rex, Gil, and Ellie stood silently by Kai's hospital bed. Looking at the still unconscious young man, he thought to himself, "I have no face to see anyone anymore." He bitterly remembered his own boast that he wouldn't let anyone get seriously injured. Yet now, he couldn't keep that promise. Rex looked at Kai with deep regret. "I'm sorry. This is entirely my responsibility." He took out his pocket watch and stared at it. A sense of helplessness enveloped his mind. Whether it was before or now, I still haven't changed anything. A top-tier colorist like him was berating himself. What kind of foolish hero am I? Truly a teacher. A senior rich in compassion and responsibility. Seeing his commander so tormented, Gil spoke up to comfort him. "Not at all, sir. Considering the survival rate of new recruits, ending up like this is already very lucky. On the contrary, I think it's thanks to you two captains that everyone survived." Rex just remained silent, his face still not free from sorrow. Though she appeared calm on the outside, Mary was extremely bewildered. What the hell is going on? She secretly observed the high-ranking colorists who had suddenly appeared and claimed to be Kai's teammates, but no one was injured except for Kai. When she saw Kai return alone in a state of exhaustion, Mary was very suspicious of them, but after interacting with them for a while, she breathed a sigh of relief. But it seems they're not bad people. Thank goodness. Mary looked worriedly at the still unconscious Kai. But when will he wake up? Facing them all by myself is so stressful. She reassured herself with the nurse's words that there was nothing unusual about Kai's condition and that he would wake up soon. Captain Rex turned to Mary and asked, "Your name is Mary?" "Right, you're his friend," Mary hesitantly confirmed. "Yes, sir." Rex smiled reassuringly. "As you heard just now, don't worry about his condition. And hey, I have something to ask. I'm looking for a small creature named Nero. Do you know where it is?" That's right. While worrying about Kai, she had also forgotten about the little friend who had followed him. Just then, Gil's eyes widened in shock when he saw two small black ears peeking out from behind Kai's head. He trembled as he pointed at the hospital bed and shouted, There it is, it's over there," seeing the black cat intentionally hiding behind Kai's pillow. Gil was furious and roared, "You little bastard. Get your head out here right now." Nero could only tremble, peeking at the furious blue-haired man in front of him. Gil was still angry. He started to remember what the cat had done and began to complain. "Captain." It was the one that swallowed the star fragment. He resentfully scolded Nero for suddenly disappearing and causing trouble for the whole team. "Do you have any idea how much trouble we had explaining your disappearance?" Unable to contain his rage, Gil lunged forward to grab Nero. "Get over here right now." However, the cat nimbly leaped away to dodge, causing Gil to miss and get kicked right in the face. "You little brat." Mary quickly caught Nero in her arms to protect him. She was overjoyed to see her little friend was safe. "Nero, I was worried sick about you, so you were hiding in his shadow." She hugged him tightly and sighed in relief. "As long as you're safe, that's all that matters." Witnessing this, Captain Rex suddenly paused with a thoughtful look. He felt a strange energy. What is this familiar feeling? Is it just my imagination? Suddenly, Nero opened his mouth wide and emitted a blinding light right in Mary's hands. Startling her, Mary stared blankly at the floating object. Huh, what? It spit it out. Captain Rex approached, breathing a sigh of relief. No longer having to rack his brain on how to retrieve this precious item, he reached out to take the brilliant fragment and murmured, "The star fragment." Finally found another piece. Looking at the glowing item in his hand, the captain's eyes suddenly turned sad. He thought with sorrow. How much did we have to sacrifice to get this? The cat didn't swallow the fragment for itself. It wanted to protect its master and the fragment. Meanwhile, Kai was still deep in a terrifying nightmare. In the thick darkness, he sensed a great threat. Dronzer. The image of the sword demon returned to haunt him, making Kai worry for his teammates. Ellie and Gil can't handle him. His will to fight surged. He urged himself to wake up immediately. I have to get out there. The image of a half-human, half-demon face appeared menacingly in his subconscious. Suddenly, Kai's eyes shot open, and he bolted upright in his hospital bed. Breathing heavily, he looked around dazedly, seeing Captain Rex holding the glowing star fragment, with Ellie, Gil, and Mary standing beside him. Kai was bewildered. Where am I? Why am I here? Looking down at his hands, he was horrified to realize he had become colorless. Kai was extremely worried. Wait. More importantly, I'm colorless now. What the hell is this? Damn it. What do I do now? He started to panic, worrying about everything. They know I'm like this. Will I be kicked out of the team? Seeing him with his head down, Captain Rex spoke up. Lift your head. Did you commit some serious crime to look so dejected? He calmly stated that no matter what condition Kai was in, he didn't care. The most important thing to Rex was that the team had achieved an outstanding result on their very first expedition. Looking at the brilliant star fragment in his hand, Rex flashed a mysterious smile. I never expected you all to do so well. From now on, I'll be using you like a slave. Get ready. Kai. Rex loudly declared. Welcome to the red team. Kai was stunned for a moment, then broke into a relieved smile. He replied firmly. Yes. Sir. He was afraid of being kicked out like in his past. But unexpectedly, they overlooked everything and still invited him to stay. He was overjoyed. After handling the preliminary matters, Rex signaled for the group to chat freely and then dismissed them. He turned and walked towards the door, announcing, As for me, I'm going to see Lord Luminous to report the situation. Before leaving, he didn't forget to instruct the new recruits. Just rest comfortably until you receive special orders from the exploration team. The hospital room door slammed shut, leaving the three friends behind. Ellie looked at Kai and said, Kai, I'm sure you have a lot to explain, but I won't press you for details. She hesitated before asking if he remembered anything about what happened after he was knocked out. Remembering Captain Rex's instruction to keep the power of the black color a secret, Kai looked flustered and replied, Actually, I don't really remember much. Seeing his hesitant reply, Ellie knew Kai didn't want to say more. She sighed and decided not to pursue it further. All right, let's drop it for now. I'm sure you have things you want to keep secret. Kai could only force a smile and reply, No, it's not like that. I'm telling the truth. However, in his heart, he was still worried. But, is there a way to get my black color back? Seeing her friend's dejected face, Mary laughed triumphantly. Hey, don't worry about that. I've prepared something for this situation. She started rummaging through her luggage. Wait. I put it here. Huh? After a moment of searching under the curious gazes of Ellie and Gil, Mary exclaimed with excitement. Found it. Black ink. Ellie was stunned to see the pitch-black liquid. Mary calmly explained. I snuck it out of the waste warehouse. Looking at the thick ink in Kai's hand, Ellie couldn't help but be horrified. What? What is this? You can't even call it ink. It's clearly just waste. Why would you bring something so dangerous back, contrary to Ellie's worries? Kai was overjoyed. Oh. This is classic Mary, my special-made ink. Only Mary and I know that my color comes from this so-called waste. He casually picked up the bottle and was about to drink it, making Ellie panic. Are you serious? That's no different from poison, despite all the warnings. Kai chugged the entire bottle of black liquid. He breathed a sigh of relief. Phew. Now I feel like I have some life in me. Instantly, a black aura enveloped his hair, turning it back to its original jet-black color. He clenched his fist excitedly. Great, I'm all recovered. Mary clapped in approval and didn't forget to remind Kai. That's still not enough. Right, I have more in my room. Come by later to top up. Kai smiled brightly. Oh. Really, thanks. Mary, Kai's color is certainly not expensive or rare. Is it witnessing the two's exchange? Gil coldly cut in. Are you done with the trivialities? He turned to leave and threw a curt sentence over his shoulder. I'm leaving. However, Gil suddenly stopped, his sharp gaze fixed on Kai. And you? Your arm is back to normal, isn't it? A series of questions flashed through Gil's mind. He knew that such rapid physical recovery was only possible for specialized healing colorists. He stared at Kai's arm, which had been severely injured, and wondered, how could he do that? Unable to suppress his curiosity any longer, and with a bit of guilt since Kai had been injured saving him, Gil turned back and demanded, all right. Answer me. Why did you jump in and take that hit for me back then? Gil gritted his teeth, staring at Kai. Waiting for a satisfactory answer, Kai awkwardly scratched his neck and hesitated. Well, maybe because I felt like everyone was in danger. He honestly shared his thoughts from that moment, that he believed his power could block the attack. Though he admitted he almost died for real, Kai's explanation was like adding fuel to the fire, just sending Gil into a rage. He lunged forward, grabbed Kai by the collar, and yelled, Don't lie to me, who asked you to help, huh? His eyes blazed with killing intent as he growled in frustration. I absolutely hate your holier-than-thou act. Kai could only stand there, stunned and confused by the other's unreasonable anger. Witnessing this, Mary couldn't sit still. She pointed a finger straight at Gil's face and yelled, Hey, you? What the hell do you think you're doing? Why did you suddenly go crazy? Being yelled at. Gil resentfully let go and silently turned to leave without another word. Mary watched his retreating back with irritation. What the hell is wrong with that guy? Leaving without even an apology. Ellie, standing nearby, advised her not to bother, as Gil's personality was just naturally difficult. After explaining on behalf of her curt friend, she also prepared to leave. Well then, I'll be taking my leave, Kai politely replied. Yeah. Thanks for coming. Before stepping out the door, Ellie didn't forget to mention that her duel with him would be postponed to another time. When only the two of them were left, Kai turned to his friend, Mary. Shall we go? After Mary nodded, Kai suddenly remembered something. That's right. Mary, I have something I want to show you before we go. Seeing Mary's curiosity, he excitedly recounted how he had defeated a giant mechanical monster during his reconnaissance. Kai reached up to grab an item from a high shelf and said with a smile, I thought you'd like it, so I brought it back as a gift. Ta-da, here it is. It was the energy core of the machine he had fought earlier. Mary stared at the special gift in Kai's hand. It is holding the gift she loved. She was thrilled and thanked Kai for thinking of her even in such circumstances. Meanwhile, in a completely different space, heavy footsteps echoed through a magnificent white palace. A lone figure was trudging towards a brilliant light at the end of the corridor. It was Captain Rex. He walked with a thoughtful expression amidst giant pillars, passing through the dazzling gate of light. He entered a majestic sanctuary where colorful silk banners floated mystically. Rex casually spoke, I'm back. In response, a gentle and pure female voice echoed throughout the space. A mysterious woman with long, beautiful white hair smiled in welcome. Come in. I've been waiting for you. Just in time. Rex stood before her with a confident look. It's been a while since I had good news to report to you. He flashed a triumphant smile and affirmed, just as you predicted. We can now open the Dark Witch's veil. Lady Luminous. Luminous looked at him with her deep, powerful blue eyes, exuding the otherworldly beauty of a goddess. At Mary's workshop, the atmosphere suddenly became extremely excited. Mary was intently examining the metal core her friend had given her. The more she looked, the more amazed she became. Exclaiming, Damn it, I can't believe it, the girl cried out in astonishment. I've read about this in books. This is definitely technology from an ancient civilization. Mary explained that it was a device that used ink as fuel. Though it sounded ordinary, its efficiency was incredibly amazing. She couldn't stop praising it. With just a little faded ink, it could maintain the operation of a golem for so long. Their technology is truly amazing. In contrast to his friend's excitement, Kai was skeptical. To me, it doesn't look any different from a normal energy core. Is it really as special as you say? Mary immediately retorted. Of course it is. She said that even renowned pioneer teams rarely found things like this in ruins. If you're lucky, you might find one a year. Mary's eyes glazed over as she imagined a world full of lost ancient technology. Seeing this, Kai practically suggested, so it's extremely valuable. If it's an antique, we could sell it for a fortune. Just as he teased his friend about turning it into money, he was met with Mary's fury. She yelled, Ugh. You're such an idiot. People who don't understand technology are always talking nonsense like that. She asserted that a true technician like herself would never waste a research opportunity just to make money. Mary stated firmly, Of course I'm going to take it apart to study it, why would I sell it? A confident smile returned to her lips as she promised. All right. Just you wait. Ideas are flowing in my head right now. I'm going to create a perfect set of equipment just for you. The metal sphere attracted her in a strange way. No longer caring about anything else. She began to mutter and calculate. Seeing his friend so happy, Kai smiled to himself. Thinking that bringing the energy core back was a completely right decision, he gently called. Let's go. Narrow. Then he turned to say goodbye to Mary. I'll be back later. However, Mary suddenly called out. Oh. Wait. Kai. Her face turned serious as she revealed. I just remembered. Someone was looking for you. Kai was puzzled. Mary recounted what happened when she went deep into the Shadow District to find ink to restore his color. Mary recalled the moment she was stopped and questioned by strangers she had never seen before. At first, she thought they were just thugs from another area. But the truth was much more terrifying. But they knew exactly who we were and approached me deliberately. Mary recounted how a mysterious man in dark glasses had directly asked her, You're Mary. Kai's friend. Right, he coldly stated their purpose. We want to meet the bearer of the black ink color that people have been talking about lately. Sensing a bad feeling, Mary had immediately run away. Hearing this, Kai was extremely worried. Mary. That's dangerous. I told you not to go into that area alone. It's a good thing you weren't hurt and managed to escape. You see how reckless this friend is. Folks, Mary replied grimly. I know. But this was an emergency. Mary worriedly warned Kai. If you see those suspicious people again, don't get involved with them. Kai nodded in confirmation and said goodbye to his friend to return home. Walking down the street, he thought to himself that, although he was a little worried, this area was quite safe. So nothing major would probably happen. Kai told himself. If their target is really me, they'll come find me sooner or later when they need to. Kai wearily trudged through the city, dazzling with lights. He just wanted to get home quickly to rest after a long series of days. However, he suddenly noticed that there seemed to be a lot more vagrants around lately. Even those who usually hid underground were now out in the open. Kai wondered what was going on. Could the gangs be purging each other again, suddenly? Nero's cry made him startle and turn around. Nero. What's wrong? Following the direction Nero was pointing. To a dark alley. Kai hesitated. Over there, is there something in the alley? He reminded his little friend that going deep into the Shadow District was very dangerous. But Nero still urged him in that direction. He had no choice but to comply. All right. I'm going in. Kai believed that Nero's intuition was always accurate and that there was definitely something hidden inside. On this occasion, he decided to test what he had been practicing by focusing his black energy into his eyes. Kai had noticed that his vision had changed on its own several times, allowing him to see things that normal people couldn't. He hoped that imitating that would be useful for detecting danger in the dark. Kai whispered, Invert vision. He cheered when he saw the skill had succeeded, but was immediately stunned. Before Kai's eyes, at the end of the deep alley, was a figure radiating a brilliant white light. He was bewildered. What the hell is this? Is there really someone there? It was a woman with white hair and deep blue eyes, standing silently amidst a halo of light. Kai snapped warily. Hey, who's there, at the end of the alley? A figure completely shrouded in a cloak loomed out and replied, in a deep, gruff voice. I've been waiting for you. Kai froze, thinking to himself. Wait a minute. Why does this person know me? And why did the cat tell me to come in here? He realized that if this was the person who had been hunting him all this time, he had to catch them to interrogate them. Only then could he ensure Mary's absolute safety. Without a moment's hesitation, Kai launched himself towards the mysterious door where the dark figure was standing. As he crossed the threshold, Kai was shocked as the space around him suddenly twisted. He exclaimed in bewilderment. Before him was no longer a dark alley, but a dazzling white space with a giant, multicolored pillar of light reaching to the sky. Kai couldn't believe his eyes. Yahello. A second ago, it was an alley. He looked around in confusion, wondering if he had actually stepped into another dimension. Just then, a pure voice suddenly rang out from behind. Interesting. The voice continued to echo. I didn't intend to reveal myself so soon. He whipped around and froze when he saw a beautiful woman with long white hair standing right next to him. She calmly remarked, You should feel proud. Not everyone is lucky enough to find me. Kai jumped back in shock. Who are you? The woman smiled mysteriously, her eyes exuding an air of authority. It's a pleasure to meet you. Descendant of the Black Ink. I am Celestia. Descendant of the Black Ink. That was him. But what caught his attention wasn't that, but the opponent's otherworldly beauty. Her entire body sparkled with all sorts of colors. He was stunned to realize this was the first time in his life he had seen someone so brilliant and pure. A shocking thought flashed in Kai's mind. Then, this must be a luminous. He couldn't understand why the noble leader of the city would personally seek out a colorless person like him. Seeing Celestia's majestic figure with her scepter, Kai shuddered, wondering how long she had been secretly watching him. Kai stood frozen, his eyes wide with terror. In his mind, the eerie whispers rang out again, full of temptation. That light. I want it. Devour it. Countless invisible shadow hands were madly reaching for the brilliant Celestia. The mysterious voice roared continuously, urging, closer. Devour that light. Now Kai's entire body trembled, his face completely swallowed by darkness, exuding a chilling, killing intent. Kai began to feel his body losing control. Witnessing this, Celestia couldn't help but be surprised. He's suddenly being swallowed by the black color, how strange. I didn't do anything. Although she had heard Rex's account, seeing the young man being so deeply eroded by the darkness and still surviving left her utterly amazed. Celestia realized that Kai hadn't turned into a dark witch. This suggested some mysterious connection between the two of them, she thought to herself. Some council members want to eliminate him. But I don't. Celestia affirmed with her eyes shining with all colors. She highly valued Kai's potential to resist the assimilation of darkness. An extremely valuable ability to protect the city. To her, one shouldn't be too rigid about methods. If Kai could utilize the power of darkness, then let him use it. Celestia gripped her scepter, which emitted a blinding light. Great achievements only come when we dare to be bold. So, first, let's have a little chat. Thanks to the light from the scepter, Kai was startled awake. He collapsed, panting heavily. Huh. Damn it. This time, that voice was clearer than ever before. Celestia's curiosity grew. She pressed, asking if it was the voice of the Dark Witch. Kai could only shake his head. I don't know. Just some rather strange whispers. Seeing him so tense, Celestia laughed reassuringly, saying she only wanted to meet him because Rex had mentioned him. She gently continued. By the way, I want to thank you on behalf of the city. Kai asked in confusion. Huh, you mean me? I don't remember doing anything for the city. He had forgotten that he was the one who had retrieved the star fragment. But Kai also didn't know how important that fragment was. Kai stared blankly at the brilliant star fragment in his hand. She explained that few understood the true meaning of this fragment to the city, and anyone who could bring back such a precious light deserved the deepest gratitude. Kai hesitated. But that was also thanks to Captain Rex's team. Celestia cut him off. You mean it was the achievement of the entire training team under Rex? Right, I know. But what's important is that you were the one who opened the Dark Witch's veil. Her eyes shone mysteriously as she asked Kai if he understood the importance of this. Because even the luminous like her had never been able to do it. She emphasized that only the witch herself could open that protective veil. Celestia revealed that the star fragments were originally scattered throughout the Black Lands, but most were sealed behind the veil, and their constant battle with the forces of darkness was to reclaim them. So far, the city had only collected a few fragments that were out in the open. Kai was confused. I understand. But why are you explaining all this to me? I don't even know what those fragments are used for. If you're not curious, you should at least explain it to us. Right. He wondered why both Captain Rex and Celestia valued them so much. Celestia realized she should have said this first. Instead of explaining, it would be clearer if you saw it for yourself. She warned Kai not to reveal this to anyone, as only a few people in the city knew about it. A blinding light exploded, enveloping the space, stunning Kai. Whoa, the space just changed. Celestia reassured him that this was just her residence, and that Kai was the first person to witness it. She held the star fragment high and told him to look closely at the light erupting from the darkness. A giant pillar of light shot out from the fragment, creating a world-shaking energy pulse aimed straight at the horizon. Kai's eyes widened, frozen by the unbelievable sight. He was stunned to realize that the 1,000-year-old darkness of the Black Lands was being forcefully pushed back by that light. Now he understood. They needed the star fragments to push back the darkness. Extra emergency news. The cry of the paperboy echoed through the streets, heralding a new dawn for the metropolis. People poured into the streets, stunned by the news that Lord Luminous had driven back the darkness and reclaimed territory. The crowd buzzed incessantly. The pillar of light yesterday. That was Lord Luminous. They couldn't believe their eyes, seeing this as a miracle that helped humanity reclaim land after decades. People believed that as the territory expanded, the city would be safer from monsters. Though curious about the identity of this rarely seen savior, everyone understood that he had to guard the darkness to protect the light for the city. This event opened up countless new opportunities. promising abundant resources and ink from the newly liberated lands. The major families began to form new pioneer teams, ready to invest to claim the largest share of the benefits. Amidst the city's commotion, Kai sat quietly in his room, reflecting on what he had experienced the day before. He remembered the brilliant image of the god of light and the question that echoed in his mind. Now you feel the meaning of finding those star fragments and how important it is to the people. Celestia explained that the star fragment Kai's team brought back could do many things and was truly extraordinary. However, she also gave a grave warning. You must be careful. The demons are also eyeing this area. If they find out about your power, they will surely hunt you to the ends of the earth. The image of the dark sword demon appeared as a reminder of the ever-lurking threat. Even so, Celestia affirmed that the city would always protect Kai from their attacks. She expressed regret that the city was currently focusing all its efforts on survival and couldn't give him more. Celestia emphasized that she herself had to focus on preventing the darkness from encroaching and couldn't leave for long. Looking straight into Kai's eyes, she reminded him, "You are special. There will be many who both fear and want to exploit your power." She promised to do her best to prevent bad things from happening before they occurred and encouraged Kai to continue being a colorist in his own way. After ordering Kai to return, Celestia smiled. "It was a pleasure talking with you." Just as he was leaving, she suddenly exclaimed, "The reward for the red team. I forgot to prepare it." Kai stopped in his tracks, stunned. "So, she just came to say thanks. It's time to get to work." After a full day of rest, Kai wondered what he should do next. He suddenly thought of Mary. She must be having a hard time since her ink reserves are almost depleted. Since he had some free time, Kai counted the little money he had and got the idea to go mining for ore, like in the old days, to earn some extra income. Kai strolled through the streets and stopped in front of a magnificent, ancient white building. He marveled to himself that he never thought he'd be able to set foot in here. This was the assembly hall, where famous colorists frequently gathered. Back when he was colorless, Kai didn't even dare to get close to this place. But now, he could walk in with his head held high as a true colorist. The moment Kai appeared, the atmosphere around him became abuzz. All eyes turned to him with curiosity. "Hey, what's that?" It's his first time here as a colorist. But his color, it's a bit strange to them. Whispers spread throughout the hall. "That black shadow. Is he the one with the black color?" Another person confirmed. "That's right. He's the first one with the black color." Some were wary. Really, the closer I look, the creepier it gets. The crowd couldn't stop talking about Kai's strangeness. Some even felt uncomfortable and wondered what the Dawnbreaker team was planning. They were curious about the true power of the black color and recalled his great achievement in the recent expedition. Rumors that Kai was about to be officially rewarded by the Pioneer team also began to spread, making people even more curious about how he had caught Lord Rex's eye. From above, a young man with brilliant red hair watched Kai's jet black back with amusement and exclaimed, "Whoa. Completely black. How strange." Hearing them describe him as jet black like that, I can't help but think of crows. Hey. A woman standing behind him immediately reminded him, "Stop acting like a child and take your seat." He just laughed it off, admitting he was just curious to see what kind of person Lord Rex had chosen. The red-haired young man turned to Arancia, who was standing by the window. Arancia was at the scene too. "What do you think? Is he as good as the rumors say?" Arancia pondered for a long time before replying, He's impressive. But at the same time, there are some worrying aspects that are hard to describe." The image of Kai being swallowed by darkness returned to haunt her mind. Arancia was certain that they needed to keep a closer eye on this young man. Her comment only made the red-haired young man more excited and curious about the user of the black color. In the vast hall, Kai continued to walk silently, ignoring the whispers and gossip about him. Because in reality, his color was very strange to everyone. Kai approached the reception desk of the assembly hall with a look of anticipation. The receptionist greeted him with a smile. "Hello, is this your first time at the assembly hall?" Kai nodded. "Yes. Are there any jobs suitable for me? I'd like to give it a try." The receptionist handed him a form and reminded him, You haven't received your official emblem yet. Have you? Please fill in your information here." She added that new colorists could take on low-risk missions like mining for ink or defeating small monsters. Kai's appearance immediately caused those around him to start whispering maliciously. One person said with contempt, "Look at that color. It's disgusting." Another was skeptical. "How can there be a black color? Is he even human?" Some even said harshly, "He looks like a monster. What are those idiots so excited about?" A red-haired man sitting nearby also couldn't hide his annoyance when asked. "Right. Man," he growled in his throat. The red-haired man's jealousy was clear on his face. His eyes were fixed on Kai's back with a look of hatred. That black-haired guy is so annoying. He had been annoyed ever since Kai was sent on the recent exploration mission. In his eyes, Kai was just a lucky kid who had caught the attention of the higher-ups and was now acting all high and mighty. He couldn't accept that a rookie with no experience dared to appear before him looking like that. His anger flared up. He stood up abruptly and rallied his cronies. Hey, you guys, don't let that disgusting color defile our city. Let's go purify it right now. Hearing his incitement, those who had been indifferent to Kai earlier all agreed and went to find him. Meanwhile, in a dark mine, Kai was diligently carrying out his mining work. He cheered with excitement upon finding glowing rocks. Awesome, awesome, another haul. Holding the rare raw ink ore in his hands, Kai and Nero couldn't help but feel proud. This is the first time I've ever earned this much. He was surprised because he had heard that mining output had been declining lately. Kai silently calculated. Used as fuel or a weapon like ink, it must sell for a lot. He smiled happily. Thinking of his friend's reaction, Mary will be so happy to see this. Kai focused his power, activating his special eyes. He thought to himself, thanks to these eyes, collecting resources will be much easier for me. With the ability to see through the darkness, he affirmed, no matter how dark or hard to see, with these eyes, I can see everything clearly. His eyes were no different from a mineral scanner. Looking at the sparkling streaks of light in the darkness, Kai also silently reminded himself that although this skill was very useful, it consumed too much color energy and couldn't be maintained for long. Kai looked at Nero and said, Nero, with this, you probably don't need to step in. Right, the cat just replied with a meow, looking at the bags of raw ink he had harvested. Kai thought to himself, this went faster than I thought. If I go back early with this much, I'll probably attract a lot of attention. I should find something to kill time before heading back. He picked up a crystal and got an idea. While I'm at it, I should test the strength I've been building up. Kai began to analyze. First, my main ability, absorption. I have to touch things directly to use it. And sometimes I lose control even when I don't intend to absorb. If I think about the future, I have to master this power. To kill time. He tried to fix his weakness to make it more perfect. Kai marveled as he held the blue rock in his hand. Whoa. This one is high quality. The color is so bright and vibrant. It must be expensive. But the moment he touched it, the black energy from his hand suddenly erupted, devouring the color of the rock. Kai shouted in panic. Oh. Wait. Don't. This one is expensive. In the blink of an eye, the precious rock turned pale white, making him lament. Don't be so insecure and act rashly. This is so annoying. Despite his regret, Kai still realized something important. But just now, I think I got a little bit of a knack for it. The brighter and more vibrant the color, the more volatile it is. Especially when I hear that strange whisper. It's even worse. I'm glad I figured out the cause. Time and time again. I've been led astray by that sound. Now I finally understand. He reminded himself. This time, I have to stay calm and not let it control me. The color I absorb just mixes into black. Right, Kai began to reason. Each color must have its own properties. Let's try using them in a different way. Black is originally a combination of all colors. Right, maybe I can use all colors like Lord Luminous. Let's try to visualize that time. The red color, like Team Leader Rex's, is the feeling like this. He began to recall what his senior had done and imitated it. A warmth that burns throughout the body. A brilliant red fire energy began to gather in Kai's hand. But then it quickly dissipated, surprising him. It's harder than I thought. Kai wasn't discouraged. Well, I can't be good at it from the start. Let's be determined. I'll practice until the sun sets, and so, he sat alone in the quarry, practicing diligently until late at night. Only then did Kai wearily carry the heavy bags of ore back. As he walked, he thought to himself, was I a little too rough on him? Suddenly, a mocking voice rang out from ahead. The 1,000-year-old turtle finally decides to show his face. Kai stopped in his tracks when he saw 4 figures blocking his path. The red-haired man stepped forward with a sinister smile. I never thought I'd meet the city's famous celebrity in a place like this. He glared at Kai with hatred. It's a pleasure to meet you. You bastard. Looking at the group radiating killing intent, Kai warily wondered. What the hell are they planning? Kai was completely bewildered, not understanding what was happening as a group of strangers suddenly blocked his path. One of them, named Crab, approached. Hey. You. We've been waiting for you. I thought you were hiding in some corner. Kai remained calm, despite the other guy continuing to be aggressive. You really have no respect for your seniors. If you know what's good for you, hand over that bag. Judging by the sparkle, that's color ore. Right. Good stuff. Crab's accomplice. Gray also chimed in excitedly, while their leader, Manch, looked on with amusement, his eyes turning sinister. A rookie like you has some damn good luck. But keeping it all for yourself is just greedy. If you know what's good for you, tell us where you dug this up. And maybe I'll go easy on you. Watch out. We won't be responsible if you accidentally end up dead. Kai didn't say a word, silently placing the bag on the ground. Seeing this, Crab laughed triumphantly, thinking his opponent was scared. But before he could finish his sentence, he took a powerful punch straight to the face. Collapsing backward, the other two were horrified. What the hell are you doing? Kai calmly cracked his knuckles and replied coldly. There are always scumbags like you. Stop wasting my time. Come at me all at once. I have to get home soon. Mary's waiting. Kot charged forward with a knife in his hand. But Kai easily dodged. He launched a counterattack that sent him flying into the cliff face, shattering the rock. The remaining underling tried to attack from behind. But Kai, quick as a flash, grabbed his wrist, twisted it, and kicked out his supporting leg. In an instant, the second man was also on the ground, his head slamming hard against the stone floor. Greed has its price, Kai thought to himself, about to step forward to deal with the last one, when suddenly a red bullet tore through the air towards him. Luckily, our man pulled off a Matrix-level dodge. Otherwise, it would have been game over. It left a deep hole in the cliff face. A long-range gun. Monch stood there, smoke still rising from the barrel. He smirked. You dodged it, too bad. I was planning to send you off with just one shot. I've heard about you for a while. The guy with the black color. Backed by the first controller of the dark element. I'm disgusted by your color. I've changed my mind. Today. UD. Manch fired continuously. Kai dodged while using footwork to close the distance. But every time he was about to strike, the man would shoot the ground, creating crystal barriers to block his path. Monch boasted. My blood is crystallization. I can create rubies and bloodstones. Combined with this gun, my ammo is infinite. How can your trashy black color compare to me? Kai hid behind a rock. Taking a deep breath, dark energy began to radiate, enveloping his body. He remembered his previous reckless moments and understood that if he only defended passively, he would soon run out of energy. Just then, the subordinate he had just defeated suddenly charged forward and held Kai tightly, yelling, Boss, shoot, I've got him. Monch didn't miss the opportunity and pulled the trigger. The bullet pierced through Kai's head, but instead of collapsing, Kai remained standing tall. Only the dark energy on his forehead swirled. He had absorbed the bullet. Manch was horrified. Impossible. I shot him right in the head. Kai slowly brushed the dark mist off his body, his eyes sharp and cold. You're done shooting. Right, now it's my turn. The red-haired leader was stunned to see Kai unharmed after a direct shot. Hey. Stop joking around. You took my armor-piercing bullet to the head. How are you still standing like nothing happened? Impossible. He reassured himself that Kai was just trying to act tough to hide his internal injuries. You're just pretending to be strong. Right, that's an old trick. You think you can fool me, even if you blocked it. You must be a mess on the inside. Meanwhile, Kai realized the situation hadn't changed at all. As long as his opponent had a weapon, he would just be a target for him to shoot at. Although his bullets were no longer a threat, he understood he needed a more effective attack plan. The tension was palpable. Kai silently assessed his current abilities. This consumes a ridiculous amount of color. It uses up way more than I can absorb. He told himself. If I use it recklessly, I'll run out of color in an instant. So I have to prioritize dealing with this annoying opponent first. To close the distance easily, Kai decided to try a new trick. He held his hand out towards his opponent and said, Well then. Shall I give it a try? I'll just borrow a little something. The red-haired man was confused. Huh? Kai continued coldly. Ah. That ability you just used. I want to try it out too. Let's see. Instantly, the dark energy from his palm began to contract and compress into a sharp, cold form. It looked like a glitched copy-paste that still ran smoothly. A pitch-black spear, thick with energy, materialized, terrifying the leader. What Kai was extremely excited to see that he had actually succeeded. Oh my god. I actually did it. Before, I only knew how to punch blindly. But with this, I can overcome my weakness. He realized that by observing his opponent's crystallization ability, he had grasped a bit of the secret to controlling his own color at will. Kai smirked challengingly. Anyway, thanks. You taught me a fun new toy. He swung the black spear powerfully, and it shot forward with terrifying speed. The red-haired man screamed in panic. Again, you bastard. He fired wildly in desperation. But Kai used the spear to deflect every attack and closed in on his enemy in the blink of an eye. Kai mocked his opponent's helplessness. I told you it was useless. He brandished the pitch-black spear and challenged. Since we're fighting anyway, be my training partner for a bit. Kai shot up into the air. He brought a heavy blow down on the ground, terrifying the red-haired man. How? How is this possible? The leader was stunned to realize that Kai was mimicking his own attack. He's copying my moves exactly, Kai was excited. Let's try transforming it a bit. Shall I? He transformed the dark energy into a giant blade and swung a fatal blow, shattering his opponent's weapon, leaving him frozen in shock. His expression was meme-worthy. Like when you realize you just taught the boss how to beat you. Looking at the scrap metal at his feet, the red-haired man was in despair. No. Impossible. My custom gun. He couldn't believe his prized weapon had been shattered with a single slash. He trembled, wondering if the black color held some mysterious power he didn't know about. Seeing Kai silently approaching, he could only scream in fear. This isn't normal, you freakish monster, Kai panted, clearly feeling the exhaustion. Phew. That was tiring. This ability drains a lot of energy. Just using it once did this. However, he was still satisfied with the destructive power it brought. Looking at his disarmed enemy, Kai sneered. Now what? You don't have a weapon anymore. If you have nothing else to do, you can just come at me with your bare hands. Though I know that's useless too. His pride wounded. The red-haired man furiously erupted with blazing energy. Don't be so confident. You bastard. The red-haired man roared madly. A series of brilliant red crystal pillars suddenly burst from the ground. He yelled. You thought I could only shoot a gun, you thought that was all I had. He asserted that his color could create both rubies and red iron ore. And even without a gun, he was strong enough to finish Kai, with his eyes blazing with killing intent. The leader charged forward like a wild beast with a powerful attack. His aura flared up. Looking like he had just activated max-level rage mode after being cornered, he unleashed a storm of sharp crystals aimed straight at his target. The relentless attack forced Kai to continuously retreat to defend himself. The ruby shards clashed powerfully, creating dazzling explosions right next to Kai's body. In that perilous moment, Kai focused his dark energy, creating a pitch-black shield that enveloped his arm. The solid shadow shield completely blocked the red-haired man's crystal storm, not stopping at defense. Kai used the power of the dark element to crush the incoming crystals. He shot through the sea of red energy, closing in on his opponent with incredible speed. Witnessing his enemy pass through his attack, the leader's eyes widened in terror. Before he could even recover, Kai was right in front of him, his fist charged with power. The distance was closed in. The blink of an eye, a devastating punch slammed straight into his stomach, making the red-haired man cry out in pain. Kai coldly grabbed him by the collar, lifted him up, and then forcefully slammed him to the ground. Completely subdued by Kai's overwhelming power, Kai pinned the leader to the ground and coldly asked if he was ready to give up. He emphasized that this was a fate he had brought upon himself, so he shouldn't blame anyone. The red-haired man was stunned by the terrifying strength of a rookie. He felt that Kai's very existence defied common sense. He trembled and screamed, calling Kai a disgusting monster because of the black color he was using. He asserted that Kai's power was completely alien and not human. In his eyes, everything about him was abnormally terrifying. He mockingly asked if Kai ever found himself strange, carrying that unlucky black color and still being able to live so carefreely. He laughed madly and declared that Kai was just a monster in human skin. Faced with the insults, Kai remained silent, his eyes turning sharp and full of pressure. He tightened his grip on the leader's collar, making him sweat with fear. Kai's eyes glowed, staring at his opponent like a predator observing its helpless prey. Suddenly, Kai burst into a mocking laugh. He realized his opponent, who had seemed so dangerous just a moment ago, was now just using words to attack him. Kai affirmed that he understood his thoughts clearly. He grabbed the red-haired man by the neck and declared, "If you're so interested in my power, then I'll show you all of it." The leader panicked, unable to comprehend Kai's intention. It was like clicking view full boss power without a back button. Kai coldly declared the fairness of the situation since his opponent coveted what was his. He also had the right to take what was theirs. Despite the desperate pleas to stop, the dark energy from Kai's hand exploded powerfully. A blast of darkness occurred, madly devouring the red-haired man, who only had time to scream in pain before being swallowed by the night. The whole world held its breath before the real nightmare began. Kai sat calmly on the pile of thugs' bodies. He worriedly wondered, what do I do now? At first, he intended to just leave the place and run. But he was afraid that leaving the scene like this would cause big trouble. Kai understood that although people were curious about his strange color, most hated and feared the black color. He worried that if he absorbed all their color and seriously injured them, and the story got out, everyone would see him as a terrifying monster. No. Absolutely not. I can't just leave like this. Kai frantically searched his bag. He told himself he had to do something, because he had worked so hard to get this far. Suddenly, Kai cheered when he found a bottle of special ink. That's right, I have this. He violently pried open the leader's mouth and poured the ink in. Hey. You open your mouth, seeing his complexion gradually improve. Kai hid. Oh. Wow. It seems his color is slowly recovering. He continued to force the other man to drink the ink, then quickly left the scene. The scene was now as chaotic as a field emergency room. Just that the doctor was a bit too violent. At the eastern gate of the city, the gate guard was horrified to see two thugs tied up. Their colors faded. He was stunned. What is this? Why were they left in a faded state like that? The people around them buzzed, speculating that they had used up all their energy in the dark zone. Meanwhile, Kai, completely cloaked, had already slipped away from behind. He thought to himself, phew. Lucky I wasn't caught. He realized that pumping them with the special ink had helped them recover some of their color. Enough for him to get away with it. Kai thought to himself, if anything big happens, Captain Rex will surely help me. It was like committing a crime, handling the aftermath yourself, and then making a clean getaway. So professional, it's suspicious. Kai went to the workshop and called out, Mary, who was busy, turned around and scolded him. Kai, you've been gone for days, what have you been doing? Kai scratched his head and laughed. Haha. Sorry. I just took on a mission at the assembly hall. Seeing her friend's excited expression, Mary was curious. What is it? Any good news? Kai declared confidently. If you see this, you'll be shocked. Ta-da, he presented several containers of brilliant raw color ore. Stunning, Mary. Wow, this is raw color ore, and so much of it, Kai smiled and explained. This is what I harvested from the mission. I thought of you, so I brought it back as a gift. Mary excitedly hugged Kai and praised him endlessly. Kai, you're the best. The girl firmly asserted that she would make good use of this ore. Suddenly, Kai was stunned when he saw a sparkling light radiating from Mary. He realized this warm feeling was very similar to the light he had seen from Gil, but much brighter. Kai silently marveled at Mary's brightness. Someone who always smiled and comforted others despite growing up in the dark slums. The moment was suddenly gentle, as if in a world full of dust, there still existed a source of free, unconditional light. That brilliant color truly suited her pure soul. Kai, come here. I was going to surprise you after I finished, but I'll show you now. To Kai's curiosity, she proudly announced that she was creating a special gun just for him. Kai was amazed. Really? Mary proudly showed off that she had made a lot of progress. And with this new ore, upgrading the equipment would be extremely easy. Her eyes shone brightly, looking like a mechanical genius who had just unlocked her dream upgrade. In the middle of their happy moment, a cold voice rang out from behind. I heard you just got back from the dark zone. So you were here. Kai was startled and turned around to see Ellie and Gil. Hey. What are you guys doing here? He silently worried if Gil was going to cause trouble again. Ellie announced that Lord Luminous had praised the team's achievements and requested them to come to the command center to receive their reward. Kai was stunned. Lord Luminous. Mary immediately urged her friend to go, as this was a major event, though he was sad he couldn't see Mary's gift yet. Kai still smiled and promised to be back soon. The 3 new recruits headed to the Dawnbreaker Pioneer Team headquarters. Following the staff's lead, they entered a long, deep corridor where a powerful figure was waiting. At the end of the path, Kai entered the Dawnbreaker Pioneer Team headquarters and was overwhelmed by its grandeur. He marveled as he saw the glorious exploration achievements displayed prominently on the walls. After being led into the main office by a staff member, a woman with brilliant pink hair smiled in welcome. So you're the ones from the recent rumors. She introduced herself as Camellia, the captain of the Dawnbreaker Pioneer Team, which stunned Kai, who never expected the Supreme Commander to be so young. The feeling of stepping in here was like a small fish entering the ocean for the first time and immediately encountering a shark. Camellia was famous as one of the few people in the city who possessed multicolor abilities, a powerful figure usually only seen in newspapers. She calmly said she was very surprised when Captain Rex suddenly praised the new recruits, especially Kai, the first owner of the black color, which had shaken the upper echelons. However, the solemn atmosphere was suddenly broken when Camellia took a sip of tea and then wretched because it was too bitter. She grimaced and yelled at her assistant. Lavian, I told you to prepare something sweet like cocoa. Lavian could only sigh and remind her captain to maintain her image a bit, as there were new recruits present. The badass captain image she had just built up collapsed in seconds. As quickly as a sandcastle meeting a wave. After the chaotic greeting, Camellia got down to business, awarding the rewards for the recent Pioneer mission. Lavian presented personal security cards. Exclusively for Pioneer members. Provided by the higher-ups. Inside were their monthly salary and mission bonus. Kai was stunned when he checked the number on his card and exclaimed, "This much? Is this for real?" He was stunned to realize that with this huge amount of money, buying a new house would be as easy as lifting a finger. It didn't stop there. The group also officially received C-rank Pioneer membership cards and were specially allowed to skip the probationary period. Camellia announced that they would enjoy special privileges throughout the city and, most importantly, have the color mixing workshop produce custom equipment for them. Both Gil and Ellie were stunned, as this was an extremely important place where even nobles had to wait in line. Camellia affirmed that the color mixing workshop in the Lumina district was responsible for maintaining and designing all high-end equipment for colorists, receiving such wonderful and desired rewards. Both Ellie and Gil couldn't hide their triumphant looks. Camellia officially welcomed the trio to the Pioneer team and affirmed that she would support them fully. She emphasized that the city always needed more powerful forces to confront the encroachment of the Dark Zone. Her eyes turned serious as she confirmed that the star fragment they brought back was the key to the survival of the entire City of Light. With a mysterious smile, Camellia called them the youngest ones and looked forward to their next explosive achievements. Leaving the headquarters, Kai walked with an extremely cheerful mood. The joy was so palpable. It was as if he had just received a mental buff and wanted to rush out to do more missions immediately. He whispered to Nero that today was truly a day full of good things. Kai was still surprised that he had been promoted to C rank so quickly. Remembering the rewards and the support of his friends, he told himself that the decision to join the Pioneer team was absolutely right. Kai was eager to tell Mary all this good news, knowing she would be very excited. However, as he arrived in front of the workshop, Kai froze when he saw the door wide open. He stepped inside and called out, "Mary," with a sense of unease. Before his eyes was a scene of devastation, with machines and tools scattered on the floor. Amidst the enveloping darkness, the joy he had just felt was doused with a bucket of cold water. The scene changed so abruptly that his heart sank with it. Kai stood frozen, his eyes wide with shock and fear. At the eastern Bingzi fortress, the night sky was torn apart by the screams of monsters. A commander panicked and ordered, "The monsters from the abyss are pouring in reinforcement team." All this way amidst the chaotic battlefield. The clash of weapons rang out. They screamed in desperation. "Aim for the big ones first. When will this nightmare ever end?" Despite their efforts to fight back, their spirits gradually broke under the relentless attack. From a high cliff, a mysterious green-haired girl silently observed the devastated scene and flashed a sinister smile. "Haha, that's right. Keep struggling, struggle all you want," she mocked the weakness of humans. "To be honest, if you can't even handle this little thing, I'll be very disappointed." To her, this attack was just a bland prelude. She affirmed, But this still isn't enough." Looking at the rampaging monsters, the girl clicked her tongue with boredom. "Just keep hitting these small fry is a waste of time. To level this hateful city completely clean, I need a more certain method." A calculating glint flashed in her eyes. Maybe I'll have to go down there one more time." Standing next to her, the white-haired sword demon coldly spoke up. "Going down to the city to meet, what are you planning to die?" He mocked his comrade's overconfidence. However, he also revealed an important piece of information. "All right. It won't hurt to tell you. Underneath the Bingzi fortress, there's a passage down to the abyss. It's a bit narrow, though." The green-haired girl smirked triumphantly. "There. I happen to find something extremely useful. Have you ever heard of the underground city?" Meanwhile, Kai had just returned to the workshop. What met his eyes was a scene of devastation. With broken and shattered equipment scattered all over the floor, a bad feeling washed over him. Kai rushed inside and yelled. Mary. Kai rushed into the workshop, yelling, "Mary, where are you?" He ran through every corner, searching in vain. Mary, looking at the ransacked belongings, Kai realized that even in her workshop, there was no sign of his friend. A dark thought flashed in his mind. Could she have been kidnapped? Looking at the tools scattered on the floor, he clenched his fists in rage. Who could have done this? Kai's long shadow stretched across the silent room. He gritted his teeth. Which bastard? Memories of Mary's smile and images of her in danger flashed through his mind. Filling him with fear, he told himself, if what happened before happens again. Suddenly, a meow broke the silence, pulling him back to reality. Just as his emotions were reaching their peak, they were cut short. It was like a tense movie scene being interrupted by an NPC, ruining the mood. Kai snapped back to reality and looked around. Nero, He saw the black cat peeking out from a crack in the floor. Nero quickly jumped onto the table as if to point something out. Kai approached, wondering, what is it? Before him was a mechanical device, lying amidst a pile of tools. This is... He recognized it as the personal device Mary had mentioned. Seeing Nero continuously signaling, a bad feeling washed over him. If Nero ran here, could it be? Nero's expression was so serious that if he could talk, he would have been spamming emergency pings by now. Kai immediately activated his skill. Inverted vision. A white light enveloped the space, allowing him to see the remaining energy traces. He recognized a familiar aura. That's the same color that radiates from her body. Kai understood his little friend's intention. No wonder you wanted me to see this. Though his heart was burning with anxiety, hoping Mary was safe, Kai still forced himself to calm down. Phew. Calm down. I need to push aside all unnecessary emotions right now, he concluded. The ones behind this are definitely the same bastards who were targeting me before. Remembering Mary's warning about the mysterious group hunting him, he realized they took her as bait. Kai gritted his teeth in rage, staring into the empty space and muttering, "You scumbags. You brought this upon yourselves." His mind was filled with nothing but extreme worry for his best friend. Mary. Just hold on. I'm coming to save you right now. Kai's gaze fell on the item Mary had been working on. And this. I'll make full use of it. He decisively put on the mechanical gauntlet, ready for the life-or-death battle ahead. His determination was so high that one look was enough to know this wasn't just a fight anymore, it was a rescue mission at any cost. The gauntlet fit perfectly. Kai could feel a new power surging through every fiber of his being. It fits so well. The performance has clearly increased. I can feel the difference immediately. Streams of pitch-black energy began to envelop Kai's arm. He confidently asserted, "Even if I have to fight for a long time, it won't be a problem." He turned and signaled to his little friend. "Let's go." Nero. The feeling of being buffed with top-tier gear was palpable. Like he wanted to test its damage immediately after equipping it. "Let's go save Mary." Kai walked with a determined look, his shadow silently moving through the dark, narrow alleys of the slums. Amidst the moss-covered walls and old pipes, Kai passed by vagrants lying listlessly on the roadside. He paid no mind to the scrutinizing gazes or the gloomy atmosphere, focusing solely on his one objective ahead. At a crossroads, Kai stopped, realizing something was wrong. The color trail has disappeared. His gaze fell upon a deep manhole with an iron ladder leading down. Away down there, there's a secret passage closer than I thought. Stepping down, Kai was stunned to see countless vagrants gathered in the dark space. No wonder the number of vagrants has increased abnormally lately. Suddenly, a large figure blocked his path and laughed triumphantly. "Haha, see, I was right. Wasn't I? You're lucky you stopped." Kai stood face to face with the group of strangers. The leader gritted his teeth and growled, "Don't tell me you've forgotten my face." He looked at Kai with eyes full of hatred and reminded him that although they weren't close, they still had a score to settle. The tension was so thick, you could cut it with a knife. One wrong move, and someone was going to get wiped out. Unfazed by the threat, Kai coldly asked, "Where's Mary?" The leader snapped in fury. "How should I know, you damn kid? You think I'm just going to answer you? Worry about yourself first." He bitterly remembered the humiliating moment of his defeat and asserted that Kai was the reason he was in this miserable state. To regain some strength, he had to do the dirtiest jobs and accept being a pawn at the bottom of the organization. He growled, "The reason I've endured until now is to wait for this day of revenge. Do you have any idea how much I hate you, although I received orders from Lord Balance to capture you alive?" He asserted, "I don't need to keep your bones intact." Kai ordered his cronies, "You're going to pay me back with interest, everyone. Attack, take him down." The thugs charged forward with their weapons, but Kai just silently gathered dark energy in his palm. A pitch-black blade materialized. He coldly declared, I don't have time to waste here. And I don't need to show any mercy either." His speed was so fast that a security camera would probably only record a blur with the text loading. Kai moved like a phantom. The shadow blade tore through the space, taking down anyone in his path in an instant. Kai's terrifying speed completely broke the crowd's formation. The leader cried out in terror, "Are you insane? What kind of monster is this?" He quickly activated his weapon, unleashing a brilliant blue energy slash to stop him. However, Kai calmly faced it and blocked the stream of power with his bare hand, right in front of his enemy. The blue-haired leader's eyes widened in horror as he realized Kai's strength had completely transformed. Before he could recover, Kai delivered a 1,000-ton punch that sent him flying with a scream of pain. The punch he just threw was enough to make anyone want to write their will just in case. Kai coldly approached, grabbed his opponent by the collar, and sneered. "It's different from last time, isn't it? To be honest, I don't want to hurt people. But for scumbags who kidnap innocent people, don't expect any mercy from me. Looking at the henchman lying on the ground, Kai declared ruthlessly, some of you might be crippled for life. He looked at the defeated with emotionless eyes. But isn't that your own fault? Consider yourselves lucky to still be alive. Kai pulled the leader closer and said with contempt, I just remembered. You used to be a pioneer. Right, a pioneer doing such dirty work. It's truly despicable. People like you don't deserve the grace of the light. The blue-haired man trembled, sweat pouring down his face in fear. He only had time to stammer, wait. Before a scream of awe echoed through the dark cellar, Kai decisively dragged him away. You're coming with me down there. I need a guide. Despite the plea of wait, Kai silently dragged him towards the edge of the deep pit. Without a moment's hesitation, Kai and the leader plunged straight into the bottomless pit. The two of them were in free fall through the dark space, where only a faint light shone from the bottom of the chasm. As he was falling, Kai looked down into the endless void and thought to himself, I never thought I'd be back here again. Before their eyes was a magnificent and overwhelming view of the underground city. Amidst giant pillars and a web of pipes, a city dazzling with light stretched endlessly beneath the ground. Kai and his guide were dwarfed by the vast space. Heading straight for the center of the mysterious underworld, Kai forcefully pushed the guide's shoulder and growled, a little faster. And don't even think about doing anything stupid. The man could only grit his teeth and endure. Again, you think you can survive after messing with the boss's group? What can you do all by yourself, daring to show your face like this? You're dead for sure. Instantly, Kai choked him, making the man cry out in pain. Kai's eyes glowed menacingly. Still talking tough. Guess you don't understand your situation. Shut up and lead the way properly before I actually kill you. If anything happens to Mary, even the slightest thing, you all better be prepared to face the worst. His calm tone was so terrifying that you wouldn't know whether to tremble or write an apology letter. The guide trembled. I understand. The two walked through the bustling crowd of the underground city. Whispers spread everywhere. Are they having an internal fight? That guy's color is really strange. Hey. Don't get too close. Kai looked around and thought with admiration. This place hasn't changed at all. Not even a little. The underground city was like the shadow beneath a lamp. A place where the light of luminous couldn't reach. And it had become a den for thugs. There was no law here. The colorless had to survive by relying on the underground mines. As it was the only way for those with nowhere else to go, Kai froze as he realized this was where he had first met Mary. The guide secretly glanced at Kai and cursed silently. Damn it. You damn dog. He flashed a sinister smile. Just make yourself comfortable. My goal is just to bring you to the base anyway. You walked right into the trap yourself. You idiot. This place will be your grave. Just as they stopped in front of an old building, a deep voice rang out. You're finally here. Strangers stepped out of the darkness. The leader growled. I've been waiting for you so long I was about to grow roots. Amidst the buzzing crowd in the underground city, jeers were aimed relentlessly at Kai. Wow. So black. Another sneered. What a dark color. Like a piece of ore. Or did you fall into a barrel of ink? Ha ha ha, the leader, with his dark glasses and helmet, coldly said. You're finally here. The guide, seeing this, hurriedly ran over. Boss, I've brought the black-colored guy as you ordered. Seeing his subordinate had returned to a pale, colorless state, the boss growled. You've lost your color again, I told you. Didn't I? Those without color are worthless. Though the guide trembled and pleaded that it was beyond his control, he still coldly declared, your chance has passed. That means your value ends here. He spoke so decisively that you'd want to ask if he needed to sign a liquidation form right away. He swung his hand, knocking down his subordinate without a shred of mercy, then clicked his tongue in contempt. What a waste of time on this piece of trash. Faced with such cruelty, Kai remained calm. Nothing's changed. You still act the same as ever. He looked straight at his opponent and said firmly, I'm here, now. So answer me. Where is Mary? The boss smirked arrogantly. Still don't get the situation. Think carefully about who has the upper hand now. His smile was so confident. It was as if he had already booked a front row seat to watch Kai get destroyed. He sneered that if Kai had just backed down and cooperated from the start, everything would have been over. He growled a threat. The more you resist, the harder it will be to find that Mary girl. You know, he laughed madly. Who knows what could have happened by now? Who knows? Ha ha ha. Killing intent exploded from Kai. He coldly declared, all right then. I'll just level this place to the... Kai's eyes glowed a brilliant white. The dark energy from his arm erupted violently, forming a vortex of pitch-black energy that enveloped his entire body. The leader cried out in terror. What the hell is that? A terrifying explosion shook the entire area. sending the henchmen flying. Amidst the rubble, Kai stood tall, facing hundreds of figures surrounding him. The noise was so loud it reached the office of the leader. A subordinate rushed in to report. "Boss, it's an emergency." "Boss, the black-colored guy we're looking for. He's going berserk." He urged his boss to go see the situation immediately. The branch leader, with his long hair and glasses, screamed in desperation. "Stop him, hold him back for me. You idiots." He ordered his men to try to hold on and buy time until the higher-ups arrived. However, against Kai's overwhelming power, the thugs were just punching bags for him to vent his anger on, hitting so gently like this. Even the punching bags at the gym would probably ask for a collective leave of absence. Un by un, they were thrown into the air, making the commander exclaim in shock. "He's clearly a monster. What the hell is going on here? What are you still doing?" A deep, powerful voice rang out. Seeing the large figure with intricate tattoos appear, the long-haired man cheered with joy. "Ah, he's here." The branch manager, the big boss, trudged over. He looked disappointed to see his numerous subordinates being easily defeated by a single kid. "I heard a noise and thought it was something big. You can't even catch one person." Looking down at the ground, Kai stood alone amidst a sea of defeated enemies. He looked at the devastated scene and sneered. The reputation of the Seth Group, the rulers of the underground city, is completely shattered. "You useless bunch." Facing Kai's sharp, cold gaze, the branch manager silently assessed. This kid is really strong. He began to warm up his body, preparing to step in himself. The subordinate standing next to him challenged smugly. "Haha. You're dead for sure. You may not know it, but the boss used to be an A-rank fighter." He asserted that no matter how good Kai was, he couldn't fight a true professional. He jeered. "If you had just listened when people were talking to you, this would have been over already. It's too late for regrets now. Kid." The fight erupted as the heavily built branch manager charged forward like a whirlwind. Kai was no less impressive. He poured strength into his legs and shot straight at his opponent. A world-shaking clash occurred in mid-air, creating a shockwave that shattered the ground around them. Kai threw a powerful punch, but the fighter managed to block it with his arm. He smirked confidently and arrogantly. "Haha. Not bad skills." Kai stood firm, his sharp eyes focused intensely on his opponent's every move. His gaze was so intense that if anyone interrupted, they would probably be taken out on the spot. The branch manager growled. "All right. My turn." He poured all his strength into his tattooed massive arm. A punch with the pressure of 1,000 tons slammed down, giving Kai no time to dodge and sending him flying, crashing through stone walls. Kai struggled to get up amidst the rubble. He clutched his trembling arm and tried to regulate his breathing. Without giving Kai time to rest, the fighter continued to charge, intending to deliver a finishing blow. However, Kai quickly dodged and suddenly closed in. He placed his hand, wearing the mechanical gauntlet, directly on his opponent's chest. Kai focused all his dark energy, activating a direct attack that stunned the branch manager. He panicked, wondering, "What is this?" A cold sensation ran down his spine, making him realize with a shock, "It feels like something inside me is draining away." The dark energy from Kai's hand was madly devouring his color and energy. The fighter gritted his teeth and cursed. "Damn it," then he screamed in agony. "Ah." He glared at Kai with rage and yelled. "What kind of trick is this?" The branch manager sneered. "That disgusting black color and these strange tricks. They suit each other well." He asserted that he would get more serious to see what else Kai was hiding. The ground shattered as he unleashed the color power he had been suppressing for years, transforming his body into a giant with spiky rock armor. The transformation was so epic. It was only missing a background track to be a final boss scene. Kai stood silently, observing his opponent. He thought with difficulty. Ugh. Controlling this energy is really hard. It's still not enough. He realized his old fighting style was no longer effective. He needed a sharper, more intense weapon to pierce through his opponent's rock armor. Kai clenched his mechanical gauntlet. A mad torrent of dark energy erupted, enveloping his body. The branch manager was stunned. What he trembled as he felt, for the first time in his life, a killing intent so cold. He wondered in terror. This is the power of the black color. Behind Kai, countless pitch-black swords and spears suddenly materialized from the void, forming a deadly and oppressive forest of weapons. The number of weapons was so large, it looked like a clearance sale for the entire world. Kai's eyes glowed a brilliant white, staring at his enemy with a terrifying coldness. The battle in the underground city raged fiercely, with powerful clashes that shook the entire space. Kai, with his brilliant white eyes, charged forward to attack, making the branch manager of the Seth group grit his teeth in frustration. Damn it, this is so annoying. Seeing the forest of black weapons rising from the ground, He cried out in terror. What kind of monstrous ability is this? Kai swung his black sword powerfully, closing in on his enemy with a sky-high killing intent. With terrifying speed, Kai swung his sword, tearing through the space and aiming straight for the opponent's sturdy rock armor. The fragments shattered under the overwhelming power of the black color, making the giant exclaim in surprise. Without giving his opponent a chance to breathe, he dodged the 1,000-ton punches and then spun around to deliver a heavy blow directly to his chest. Kai's attack was a relentless storm. The black sword continuously clashed powerfully against the enemy's defense. The branch manager groaned in pain and was stunned to realize his opponent's intention. This brat. He's only aiming for my head. The chain of attacks was as fast as spamming a skill with no cooldown. Though the fighter tried to fight back, Kai moved too nimbly. He continuously delivered sharp slashes, shattering large chunks of the rock armor around his head. He trembled as he realized his proud, enhanced body was being easily destroyed by Kai. As if it were nothing, he realized with terror that although those black swords were fragile, each one was as dangerous as a straw. Madly draining his color, in his desperation and with his pride wounded, the manager of the darkness roared. Damn it, I'm the manager of the darkness, I can't lose to this brat. He poured all his strength into creating a giant rock spike from his arm and charged madly. A black-colored brat like you dares. The branch manager roared furiously. I don't care what Blank says anymore. He swung his giant fist and yelled. Die. A single swing that was enough to make anyone want to quit their job permanently. A special move called Corner of Destruction exploded, creating a world-shaking tremor that flattened the surrounding buildings and left a deep crater in the ground. As the dust settled, the fighter was stunned to see Kai still standing. What? He couldn't believe his eyes when he saw his strongest attack being blocked. You blocked it. The sturdy rock armor on his arm began to crack and fall apart, to the horror of its owner. The branch manager was in utter panic. What's going on? He realized his energy was being madly sucked into Kai's black vortex. My color is being absorbed. The situation turned so quickly that before he could even understand what was happening, he was already losing his color for real. He was stunned, wondering how many abilities Kai possessed, being able to both create weapons and absorb his opponent's color. Though terrified, he tried to compose himself and planned to use his last bit of strength to counterattack. But then he suddenly froze. Bewildered. Hey, the fighter panicked, putting his hands to his face and screaming. What I can't see. Taking advantage of his opponent's panic at losing his sight, Kai shot forward with terrifying speed. He delivered a 1,000-ton punch directly to his face, sending the giant flying. The branch manager collapsed to the ground, able to do nothing but groan in pain. Stunned, feeling the strength in his body gradually fading, he wondered in despair. Why am I going to die like this? Is it because he's the black color, in his dying moments? He gritted his teeth and cursed. You damn kid, daring to use the black color like poison. Faced with that fury, Kai just coldly replied with a contemptuous question. So what? A short answer. But the mental damage was probably on a boss level. Kai couldn't be bothered with morality. He growled. Why should I fight fair? Then he brutally stomped on his enemy, making him cry out in pain. Kai coldly declared. Now you can't resist when I absorb you. Can you? He grabbed the manager by the neck and madly drained the last of his color, making him scream in agony. Whoa, witnessing the horrifying scene, the subordinate with glasses standing nearby could only tremble in fear. The manager has been defeated. He looked at Kai with eyes full of terror and screamed. You damn monster. Amidst the rubble, Kai stood tall, his eyes glowing a brilliant white, radiating the pressure of a terrifying entity. The manager, now completely faded, lay motionless like a soulless corpse. The air was so silent that even fear had to tread lightly. Kai trudged away, leaving behind a trail of absolute terror for the survivors. He glanced back, his face hidden in shadow, exuding a chilling killing intent that made his opponents afraid to even breathe. Meanwhile, in another dark space, Mary slowly woke up with a groan. Ugh. The throbbing pain made her clutch her head and grimace. My head. Mary looked around in shock, trying to get her bearings in the silent room, where only a single light shone down. She worriedly wondered, where am I? Under the single light, Mary had just woken up in the dark room when a mysterious voice spoke. You're awake, I've been waiting for you. Mary was stunned. Who are you? The stranger calmly looked at the stack of documents in his hand and murmured. Interesting. Who would have thought a colorless person would attract so much attention? His calm demeanor was more like someone reading a menu than talking to a victim. He commented on Kai's case. His color appeared late. I heard that condition is extremely rare. He continued to scrutinize Kai's photo. But what's with that expression? It's as if he has emotions. In his memory, Kai was nothing like a human. Hearing this, Mary trembled. realizing something. That voice. Could it be? Images of children being led away in the past flashed through her mind, terrifying her. The figure behind the glasses flashed a sinister smile. Mary exclaimed with suspicion. Blang, he replied with amusement. As expected. You still remember. Mary. Long time no see. It was Blang, the one holding Kai's file. Mary was stunned, unable to believe her eyes. You weren't dead back then, Blang calmly admitted. Haha. I almost was. I thought I was going to be crushed when everything collapsed. He remembered the moment he was buried under the rubble and thought to himself that he was lucky to have survived. His will to live is stronger than a coffee shop's Wi-Fi. Blanc approached Marin and mocked this unexpected reunion. He claimed to remember everything clearly, because Marin and Kay were very special to him. They were his very first lab rats. Seeing Marin's terrified expression, Blanc smugly boasted that he had finally succeeded and gained the boss's recognition. He proudly declared, I am now a tactician of the darkness, Blanc excitedly urged Marin. Don't just stand there. Come here, I have so many things I want to show you. Let me show you how far my research has progressed. His eager tone made it sound like he was about to show off a figure collection. Rather than a laboratory, a blinding light turned on, revealing a massive laboratory before Marin's eyes. It was filled with giant test tubes containing colorful liquids, with human bodies imprisoned inside them. Below, innocent people were chained up, trembling and crying under the strict surveillance of masked guards. Marin stared in shock at the rows of iron cages holding ferocious monsters with razor-sharp teeth, growling viciously. She trembled, her face covered in cold sweat from sheer terror. No. I can't believe it. This horrific place still exists. A subordinate brought over a tray of glowing purple vials and reported, Lord Blanc. These are the final extracts. Blanc smugly accepted them. Right on time. Let's see how it turns out this time. Marin furiously screamed. Are you going to do what you did last time? Blanc casually smirked and replied. Of course. It would be a crime not to use something so wonderful. He held the purple extract vial in his hand, his eyes gleaming with madness behind his glasses. Welcome back. Marin. Welcome to my new extraction system. Suddenly, smoke, fire, and terrifying explosions shook the entire block in the dead of night. Amidst the chaos, panicked citizens fled, accompanied by blood-curdling screams. Get out of the way. The chaotic scene looked like an action movie set. But sadly, there was no director to yell cut. A middle-aged man ran while angrily shouting, Damn it, that Zuko gang is causing trouble again. Run. Hurry up. Before we all get dragged into this mess. Meanwhile, Kay emerged menacingly from the smoke and dust, his hands coldly dragging two unconscious enemies. He approached a dark tunnel and interrogated the trembling man in front of him. You said Marin was taken here. Right, the subordinate. His face pale with fear, stammered in reply. Yes, the girl you're looking for is probably inside there. He cowardly begged. Can I go now? I did everything you asked, without a moment of hesitation. Kay swung his hand and knocked him out on the spot. He then called for Nero. Immediately, a small black creature popped out from his collar. At first glance, it looked like an adorable pet. But who would have thought its main function was guiding him to fights? Kay lowered his voice. Show me the way. Where is Marin? You can do that. Right, receiving an excited chirp in response. He smiled faintly. Thanks. You're always a big help to me. However, his presence was discovered. The guards from above shouted. He's over there, everyone. Get over here and grab him. Let's all rush him at once. The aggressive mob, armed with all sorts of crude weapons, charged down the stairs. I don't have time to waste dealing with small fry like you one by one. If I delay any longer, Marin will be in danger. I just happen to have prepared the perfect move for this. Unfazed, Kay channeled maximum dark energy into his mechanical arm and declared loudly, I'll blast my way straight through all of you. He swung his arm, unleashing his ultimate technique, the destructive punch. The punch carried terrifying power, wiping out all obstacles and creating an explosion that shook the entire underground facility. The guards only had time to scream in despair. Impossible. We have to stop that madman at all costs. Someone. Please stop this crazy monster. Amidst the rubble, Kay, with his piercingly cold eyes, continued to dart forward like an arrow. Meanwhile, deep inside the laboratory, you really are a complete lunatic. What the hell are you going crazy for, Marin? Gritted her teeth and furiously shouted. Why are you still committing these atrocious acts even now? Blanc slightly turned his head, feigning surprise. What's wrong? Marin, why the angry face? There's no need to act so threatening towards me. He casually walked around and continued in his sick, Twisted tone. Honestly, I feel very grateful to you all. Thanks to you being my test subjects. My research has made such a massive breakthrough today. His grateful tone was so sickening it made you want to punch him in the face to return the favor. Blanc pointed at the giant machine. Oh. Look over there. The extraction process is happening right now. Seeing it with your own eyes is always better than just hearing an explanation. Right, nearby. Two guards were roughly dragging an elderly man toward the machine chamber. The old man trembled and begged. No. Please. I don't want to die yet. Ignoring his pleas. A guard swung his baton, striking the old man hard, and yelled, Shut your mouth and get inside quickly, amidst agonizing screams. He was shoved inside. Oh. I don't want to go in there, I beg you. Please spare me, save me. With the iron door slamming shut, the machine began to operate. Releasing plumes of thick white smoke, a stream of bright red liquid started flowing through the pipes, gradually filling a small glass vial. Witnessing this horrifying scene, Marin stood, frozen, her heart filled with disgust. This place hasn't changed at all from before. It's still just as gloomy and terrifying as I remember. Blanc recalled his previous failures with the dull gray vials. During my first experiments, I was too inexperienced. So the result was that I couldn't extract any colors at all. I pointlessly wasted all the samples taken from your bodies. Remember when I mentioned those who only awakened their powers in adulthood? I saw the hidden potential within them. That's why I wondered what would happen if I found a way to extract that latent ability. And the results were truly successful beyond my expectations. Listening to him talk was like hearing a research presentation. Except the volunteers were entirely unwilling. Not just humans. Even massive mutated creatures became his source of materials. It doesn't just stop at humans. I can even extract it from monsters. See how brilliant I am. Who would have thought that such worthless trash could transform into such miraculous and gorgeous colors? I firmly believe this is their soul. Their core essence. And I have the right to extract it and use it however I please. Actually, I'm doing a good deed. I'm helping them awaken their buried value so it can shine in the most brilliant way possible. Blanc smugly raised the vial high and declared, My extraction ability, combined with years of relentless research, has finally borne fruit perfectly. And what you're seeing is the result of that, the hybrid seed. He gazed passionately at the swirling purple liquid. Currently, I'm still exploring what else it can be applied to. Not long ago, I realized that monsters emitting signals are often attracted to these colors. Even though I can't control them with absolute perfection, it still yields a certain level of effectiveness. Witnessing this madness, Marin furiously yelled, You guys are a bunch of sick freaks. You're all completely insane. How can you casually say such disgusting things with a straight face, capturing living, breathing people and shoving them into that extraction machine just to create this bizarre crap? Do you? I think the city government will just let you freely commit these evil acts without punishing you. Her anger flared up fiercely. In response to her accusation, Blanc merely flashed a sinister smile. Oh. I anticipated you would react this harshly. However, I honestly don't see anything wrong with this. Well, it seems my work is too far ahead of its time. So people like you lack the capacity to comprehend it. What a pity. Marin seemingly couldn't take it anymore. She screamed right in his face. Shut your filthy mouth. You're nothing but a sick, twisted murderer, soul and core essence. My ass. What a load of bullshit. If you're so obsessed with extracting colors, why don't you extract it from your own damn body? Your color must be absolutely filthy and disgusting. It's the color of a lunatic who only knows how to wallow in his sick, twisted pleasures. A direct, no-nonsense verbal smackdown. If she hates you, she's going to let you have it. Blanc's expression suddenly darkened. He asked back, Do you really think so? Actually, I've already tested it, so I understand it better than anyone else. Marin was stunned. What did you just say, Blanc? Slowly took off his glove while explaining. I frequently perform extractions on my own body. I'm the one who created it. So why wouldn't I experience it myself first? This is the research I've poured my entire life's passion into. As soon as I achieved success, the very first thing I did was try extracting a portion from myself. Testing your own product before selling it sounds dedicated. But in this case, it just sends shivers down your spine. He revealed his mechanical arm and his left eye, which glowed with an eerie purple hue. Oh, my very own color. It's so magnificent. Right now, I am cherishing and protecting it with the utmost care. Who knows, maybe it'll be of some use to me later on. Marin, terrified, clutched her head in despair. Hey, I'm begging you. Please just shut your mouth for once. I don't give a damn about your crazy delusions. Don't make me listen to another word. Blanc burst into delighted laughter. Haha, I got a little too excited and forgot myself. But since we're chatting anyway, Do you want to hear more about this? I heard that guy, K, has already set foot in this underground city. Hearing K's name, Marin's eyes widened in shock. Blanc smugly confirmed. Just as I predicted. Kidnapping you was the perfect bait to lure out the first person to possess the color black. He mockingly brought up the past. How K used to follow her around without leaving her side. To him, Marin was the perfect prey to lure K into walking right into a death trap. Blanc was confident that even if K possessed special powers, he couldn't possibly fight off the massive number of subordinates surrounding him outside. He ordered his men. Take her away quickly. We'll meet again when K shows up. Marin furiously struggled. You lunatics, let me go, don't you dare touch me. Blanc calmly turned his back and walked away to prepare to welcome his esteemed guest, while also double-checking the batch of hybrid seeds about to be delivered to a major client. However, a terrifying noise suddenly shook the entire space. Blanc, bewildered, blurted out. What the hell was that loud, shaking noise? Right after, the ceiling collapsed, creating a massive explosion. The guards screamed in terror. Ah, watch out, the ceiling is caving in. Thick dust and smoke engulfed the laboratory. To Blanc's utter shock, what the hell is going on? From above, a towering black silhouette landed amidst the rubble. Marin was stunned, unable to believe her eyes when she saw the familiar figure emerge from the smoke. K appeared in an arrogant stance, his cold eyes glaring straight at the enemy. A textbook main character entrance. It's showtime. And without any introduction, everyone knows who the center of attention is. Marin burst into tears of joy and called out his name loudly. K, meanwhile, at the High Council, Counselor Hudson slammed the table and shouted angrily. What is our high-priority target doing? Camellia hurriedly reported the emergency situation. He went down to the underground city and is currently engaging the Dark Organization, according to reports from the surveillance team, in order to rescue his kidnapped friend. K has swept through and leveled multiple enemy sectors. Hudson immediately turned to reprimand Camellia for letting the situation spiral out of control. But she quickly explained that she had sent people to tail him and hadn't been negligent. She stated that their forces were currently severely scattered due to abnormal phenomena in the outskirts, making it extremely difficult to mobilize reinforcements from other vanguard units. The situation was a tangled mess. From resource extraction to city defense, manpower was already severely lacking. When Hudson asked about Red's whereabouts, Camellia confirmed that he was also facing off against the Collector and the Butcher at another stronghold. Hudson gritted his teeth, realizing that the Black Hand was behind everything, and ordered the immediate mobilization of the security force to protect K. However, another counselor, wearing a monocle, spoke up to stop him, arguing that hastily deploying troops into the underground city would provoke criminal gangs and make the situation worse. He warned that the power of the rebels, including the color mixers, was not to be underestimated, and a war breaking out now would plunge the entire city into chaos. This counselor also expressed deep suspicion towards K, the wielder of the dangerous dark power. They believed his initial judgment about the threat K posed was correct, and felt a chill down his spine at the disasters K could cause in the future. To put it bluntly, in his eyes, K wasn't a potential asset, but a walking time bomb. He even maliciously suggested that this was a good opportunity to completely eliminate this dangerous seed by simply standing by and doing nothing. Faced with Camelia's tense silence, Hudson stood his ground and insisted that the security force needed to intervene. He emphasized that K was the only one capable of breaking the barrier, and the council had to protect him at all costs. Trusting in the potential that Calumnius had seen, Hudson declared he would take full responsibility and act on his own judgment to bet on the future K could create. The monocled counselor looked at Hudson disdainfully and mocked. I highly respected the fact that you managed to climb to the counselor seat with such a mediocre color, but I didn't expect your judgment to be so poor. What a pity. Hudson maintained his composure and replied with hidden meaning. It is a pity indeed. I will work harder to meet your expectations. Not wanting to argue further, the other counselor stood up, grabbed his cane, and left. I'll be taking my leave. What a waste of effort. He left behind an atmosphere as tense as a drawn bowstring. The man was gone, but the drama remained. At this moment, Camellia, sitting opposite Hudson, spoke up softly. You're worrying too much. I suppose I'll have to help you relieve this anxiety. Counselor. She confirmed that she would join the security force and mobilize additional members of the Red Team to join the battle. They were all people who had made great contributions during the first expedition. Camellia confidently asked, Is that strategy enough to ease your worries? Counselor. After some thought, Hudson finally agreed. Fine. Make sure it doesn't affect the city. You must handle this cleanly. Returning to the ruined scene, Marin joyfully called out. K. Blanc froze, unable to believe his eyes. How did he get past all my subordinates and make it here? Wait. This is bad. Meanwhile, K maintained his cold expression, his eyes burning with murderous intent. He thought to himself, Marin's safety must be the top priority. I'll finish this quickly before they can react. Instantly, K channeled his power into his mechanical arm. Extending razor-sharp claws, he unleashed the Dark Soldier technique, a massive wave of dark energy that swept away everything, making Blanc only have time to exclaim in terror. Whoa, the surrounding guards were sent flying, only managing to let out cries of pain. The sweep was so clean that at first glance, it looked like a wide-area trash cleanup. Combat Edition. The terrifying power of the strike shattered the containment chambers, causing the experimental liquids to spill all over the floor. Not stopping there, K dashed forward like a black flash of lightning. Aiming straight ahead at blinding speed, K descended from above like a tornado, taking down 2 guards in the blink of an eye. Leaving them completely stunned, he stood protectively in front of Marin amidst the rubble. Just standing there. His mobile fortress aura was maxed out. Marin looked at his back with eyes full of hope and gasped. K. K slightly turned his head to look at her and said in a deep voice, Sorry I'm late. He gently asked. You waited a long time. Didn't you right then? Nero leaped down from above into Marin's arms, making her call out in surprise. Nero. She hugged the little creature tightly. Marin smiled radiantly, tears welling up in her eyes. I'm sorry for making you both worry. Thank you for coming to save me. While Kay still maintained a serious expression, a loud shout echoed from afar. Run, taking advantage of the chaos. With the guards completely taken down, the prisoners urged each other to flee through the door. This was their chance to escape. Watching from a distance, Blanc clicked his tongue in regret as he saw his test subjects getting away. Huh. Damn it. So they all escaped. He looked at the pile of equipment and consoled himself. I still have many unfinished experiments. But it doesn't matter. I just need to gather more materials. Right? He turned to Kay with his signature sick smile. Kay, it's so good to see you again. When I heard you received that color, I was really looking forward to meeting you, haha. Surviving with that color is truly a rare case. Seeing you in person like this makes me even more thrilled. Just hearing that sounded completely wrong. He seemed more like a crazed fanboy than an enemy. Blanc licked his lips with intense craving as he stared at Kay. I wonder, if I extract you, how brilliantly will the light shine? Kay silently looked at him with a cold, disdainful gaze. Who is this guy? He looks familiar. The villain had been running his mouth this whole time. And our main guy just dropped a single line. Who the hell is this? Truly savage. After that, his friend had to remind Kay. That's Blanc, the guy who arbitrarily sucked our blood before Blanc. Kay looked deep into his crazed eyes, unable to help but feel suspicious. He survived in that rubble, Blanc casually replied with heavy sarcasm. How cruel. I'm still very much alive and kicking. He raised the vials of brightly colored essence in his hand and declared, Let's end the reunion greetings here. We still have things to exchange with each other. With gifts like these, who would dare accept them? Good lord. Blanc flashed a bizarre smile and suddenly threw the vials at his opponent. Here. A gift for you. The vials shattered right at Kay's feet, leaving him bewildered. What's this? Realizing the danger, Marin immediately screamed a warning. Kay. Be careful. What he just threw is used to attract monsters. Kay's expression changed upon hearing the warning. In the distance, Blanc stood casually by the control panel. He smugly admitted, That's right. I've never liked getting my hands dirty. He looked toward the rows of iron cages packed closely together and continued, Those monsters aren't strong enough to suppress you, but they're enough to exhaust you. Right after. Blanc decisively pulled the lever. It's feeding time, wild. Savage roars echoed as a series of iron doors swung open, unleashing a horde of ferocious, starving monsters. They charged madly toward Kay like a pitch-black tide. Facing the danger, Kay immediately channeled his dark power into his mechanical arm. Preparing for battle, he dashed into the middle of the monster pack, swinging powerful slashes with his dark blade, taking down waves of mutated creatures in the blink of an eye, soloing the entire server. The monsters barely had time to contemplate life after spawning before dropping dead. Looking at the fallen monster corpses, Blanc clicked his tongue. This won't do. Kay. How can you waste such precious specimens? He observed the battle while muttering about his insane theories. Normally, colors evaporate after an ability is used. But in my hands, things are different. Instantly, he activated his special ability, Extraction. A stream of dark energy from K's slashes was sucked right into the glass vial in Blanc's hand. He laughed with delight. Ha ha ha, the color black, his eyes lit up like he just looted a rare item. It just needed a legendary text popping up to complete the picture. Gazing at the thick liquid in his hand, he muttered with ambition. I finally have it. I wonder how it differs from other black colors. But the Mad Doctor's greed didn't stop there. He stared at the vial and clicked his tongue. I need a little more. This much isn't enough. Blanc's eyes flared with an excited purple gleam. He roared challengingly. K, I really want to see what your power can do. Down below. K was still fighting frantically amidst the monster encirclement, while Marin could only watch in extreme anxiety. Seeing K struggling to fend them off, Marin anxiously exclaimed, This is bad. She realized that normally, K could easily handle situations like this. But now he couldn't. Marin guessed inwardly. He must have used a lot of color on his way here. So he's overloaded now. She knew that if he could absorb the monster's colors, K could recover immediately. But first, she had to find a way to create an opening for him. Suddenly, Marin saw the hybrid ink spilling across the floor and wondered. That hybrid ink on the floor. She remembered that earlier. Thanks to K's power. This liquid had spilled all over the place. Marin's eyes became resolute. I have to use this, her brain pinged. And a plan instantly formed. A true genius mode activated in a crisis. She quickly used her tools to tamper with the machinery system. Then, with all her might, she pulled out 2 large cable ends. As a powerful electrical current began to arc between her hands, she shouted a warning. K, watch the floor. Instantly, Marin sent the massive electrical current into the liquid on the floor, creating a terrifying electrical discharge that swept across the room. The electricity traveled through the liquid at blinding speed, catching the monsters off guard and severely electrocuting them. Marin gritted her teeth fiercely. Fry them all. Just hearing it makes you smell the barbecue spreading across the room. In a flash, the entire pack of ferocious monsters was defeated, leaving K standing firm in the middle of the scene, with sparks of electricity still crackling around him. Looking at his precious monsters defeated at his feet, Blanc couldn't help but click his tongue in regret. Humph. My monsters. They're all dead. Seizing the opportunity while the enemy was distracted, Marin immediately shouted, K, now's the time, not wasting another second. K instantly dashed forward. He channeled his ultimate power into his mechanical arm, causing the joints to shift and emit a thick, dark energy. A wave of dark aura erupted violently from K's body, forming a pitch-black tornado aimed straight at Blanc's position. Witnessing that terrifying power, the Mad Doctor wasn't afraid at all. Instead, he showed extreme excitement. Oh, his eyes were glued to the energy wave. Stammering in awe. Is that the power of the color black, seeing it with my own eyes? It really is incredible. He pointed at K, his voice trembling with ecstasy. So the monsters were just bait for you. Huh. Blanc was completely immersed in his own madness as he declared his ambition to conquer and turn all enemies into his personal possessions. That is the ideal I have always dreamed of. He stepped closer, looking at K with a chillingly greedy gaze. Hey. Even if it's just an arm. No. Even just a finger is fine. Can you share it with me? Half of Blanc's face was shrouded in darkness, leaving only his purple eye glowing eerily. I want to study pure black. I want to see how incredible it is. In response to that sick rambling, K coldly dashed forward like a phantom. Are you done barking? He closed in on his target at unbelievable speed, unleashing a devastating slash of dark energy. However, despite taking the hit, Blanc still wore a sinister smile. What a pity. I'm used to disagreements during the research process. I guess I'll just have to accept it. Blanc retreated to a safe distance and casually explained. As for direct confrontation, I'll pass. My extraction isn't the kind of power meant for brawling. That's why I prepared this. He pulled out 2 sparkling vials of green and purple liquid, labeled Emergency Hybrid Mixture. Blanc decisively slammed the 2 vials into the device on his mechanical arm, letting the liquid flow backward into it. As soon as the solution was injected, a dark purple energy called corrosion began to envelop his mechanical arm. The moment the effect activated, it was obvious he was blatantly buffing himself without hiding it. Standing from afar, Blanc flashed a smug smile and exclaimed, You know what? We have a lot in common. The way you crave and steal the colors of others is exactly like me. I understand you perfectly. Right, the 2 clashed in a fiery close-quarters battle. Their powerful collisions created blinding flashes of light and shockwaves that shook the entire laboratory. Amidst the fierce shockwaves, Blanc kept rambling with his twisted expression. Listen, K, even though we're fighting and tearing at each other right now, our natures are actually very compatible. Do you want to team up with me, fighting a life-and-death battle while still trying to recruit a teammate? Combat and HR at the same time. He frantically tried to persuade Kay to join him. Only you can realize the true value of my research. Don't you want to know more about the magic of colors? Or even further, their true nature. While swinging his blade to block Kay's lightning-fast strikes, Blanc roared in excitement. Your absorption power combined with my extraction research will help us achieve that. Haha, that is the ideal ability I've always dreamed of, unlike me. You can absorb all of your opponent's shades and feel them purely. It sounds grand. But in short, it's still just let me leech off your power. Blanc's eyes flared with extreme greed as he stared at Kay. What's your state of mind when absorbing someone else's color? How does it feel? I'm so jealous of you. Share a little bit with me. Just a little bit of your color, he screamed in pure madness. Give it to me, Blanc. Lunged straight at Kay like a starving beast, aiming directly for the thick, dark source of power. But instantly, a burst of green light erupted, making him freeze. The smile on Blanc's lips suddenly vanished. He stood stunned, blurting out in disbelief. Kay utilized the dark veil technique. A powerful emerald green energy erupted, enveloping his mechanical arm. Faced with this sudden transformation, even Kay was bewildered, wondering, what now? The power from the strike created a terrifying shockwave, severely injuring Blanc. Amidst the rubble, the Mad Doctor coughed continuously, his breathing ragged and miserable. Despite being in a pathetic state, Blanc still couldn't hide his admiration. Huh. Cough. This is beyond my expectations. Truly outstanding. Beaten to the point of gasping for air, yet still finding time to praise him a certified die-hard fan. He stared at Kay, amazed by his ability to naturally absorb colors right in the middle of combat. Blanc realized that no matter what kind of color he prepared, Kay would suck it all dry. Facing an opponent with a similar ability but on a completely different level, Blanc began to feel fear. This is bad. No matter what I do now, it'll be hard to defeat you. Driven into a corner, he decided to play his final trump card. If that's the case, I'll just have to use this. Blanc tremblingly pulled out a vial of thick, black liquid. Seeing his opponent's strange action, Kay immediately went on high alert. He demanded with a cold, sharp gaze. What are you planning to do? Are you tired of living? Blanc burst into maniacal laughter, asserting that he didn't want to die at all, but was merely striving to collect data for his research. He decisively jammed the vial of the first pure black extract into his mechanical arm, declaring that he couldn't waste this precious substance on anyone else. Disregarding the risk to his life, Blanc roared madly. So what if I die? It's still worth a try. Instantly, a violent surge of dark energy erupted, engulfing his body and creating a terrifying spectacle right before their eyes. Blanc showed extreme excitement upon seeing the successful fusion process. Oh wow, that's it, it worked, haha, I knew I could do it. A stream of pitch-black liquid oozed from his left eye, a testament to the terrifying power he had just received. Blanc trembled in sheer ecstasy. To gain such terrifying power with just a tiny bit of true color, his arm had now completely mutated, covered in a mass of pitch-black, razor-sharp energy. Admiring his own transformation, the Mad Doctor laughed out loud. Haha, this is incredible. He looked up at Kay with glowing, threatening eyes and issued a warning. Be careful. Now. Even I. Blanc screamed in madness that he himself could no longer control this power, taking the buff only to realize it didn't come with an instruction manual. A fiery clash erupted in midair, creating terrifying shockwaves that tore through the laboratory space. Blanc laughed and exclaimed in excitement. Haha, you only know how incredible it is once you use it. So this is your color, his current state getting beaten up while giving a 5-star product review. He frantically tried to persuade Kay. Think about it, do you really not want to team up with me? Our meeting is destiny. Don't you want to know the secret of your own color? Kay coldly retorted. Cut the crap. Don't think everyone is as lowly as you. We are not the same. Blanc still didn't stop his mocking laughter. Haha, what are you saying? We have so much in common. Could it be that you're refusing because of Marin? Huh, Kay's eyes narrowed with utter contempt. He thought to himself about the unique identity that a parasite living off the colors of others like Blanc could never possess. Blanc continued to mock him in his sick tone. I understand you perfectly. You hollow shell, that is your true nature, don't misunderstand. I'm not insulting you. On the contrary, I really like that about you. He dug deep into the past, claiming that Kay always craved and wanted to steal the colors of others to achieve his current form. Blanc asserted. You're also just someone who acts to achieve your own goals. At least, that's how I see it. He even feigned sympathy, acting as if he were one of the few people who acknowledged Kay, no matter what form he took. While Blanc was busy giving his speech, a wrench suddenly flew through the air, tearing through the wind. The wrench smacked right into Blanc's head, making him dizzy as he cried out in pain. Ouch, what the hell from high above? Marin appeared with a hammer in her hand. She furiously yelled, "You bastard, I can't listen to your nonsense anymore. Who the hell do you think you are? Acting like you understand Kay, you only met him a few times when we were kids. And you act like you're so close," Marin furiously screamed right in Blanc's face. "What do you mean the same, you psycho? A freak who treats humans as materials like you dares to compare yourself to anyone," she firmly declared. Kay is just himself. He doesn't copy anyone. Kay is always trying to improve himself. Marin gritted her teeth, her eyes blazing with anger. "If you don't know how hard Kay has struggled, then shut your filthy mouth." Memories of their childhood surfaced. When Kay was still a smiling boy by her side. Marin choked up. "He's just a little different. But he's completely normal," inserting a flashback right in the middle of a battlefield, unable to hold back anymore. She screamed, "Who the hell are you to judge him?" Marin swung her hammer and continuously threw wrenches at Blanc to vent her anger. "Don't you dare insult Kay, you piece of trash, you sick freak, you cold-blooded murderer," standing behind her. Kay silently watched Marin. His eyes shifted slightly at her fierce defense of him. Kay flashed a faint, meaningful smile. Then, he suddenly closed in and grabbed Blanc tightly, leaving him bewildered. A terrifying wave of dark energy erupted, blowing everything around them away. Blanc gasped in terror. Huh. Witnessing this sudden surge in power, the Mad Doctor trembled with excitement. Oh, this is amazing. He can still increase his power output. Amidst the thick black smoke, Kay softly called out, "Marin." Then, he smiled gently at her. "Thank you." Instantly, Kay dashed forward at terrifying speed, delivering a crushing punch straight into Blanc's body. The strike was so powerful that it sent him flying without any time to react. Blanc realized in horror that his body had reached its limit. "No. This is exceeding my body's tolerance," he gasped in despair. Kay. You really are." Kay stood towering like a grim reaper, radiating an overwhelming murderous aura that enveloped his enemy. He calmly gathered all his strength and delivered a fatal downward strike from above. If there were a health bar, this smash would definitely drop it straight into the negatives. No questions asked. Another earth-shattering explosion echoed as Kay smashed Blanc into the ground, creating a massive crater with cracks spreading throughout the laboratory. That destructive power would make anyone who witnessed it shudder and exclaim, "That's truly incredible." The dust gradually cleared, revealing Kay standing tall amidst the rubble. Marin hurriedly ran over, anxiously calling his name. She looked him up and down and asked, "Are you okay?" Kay nodded slightly and calmly replied, "Yeah, I'm fine." The two looked down at the Mad Doctor, lying motionless at their feet. Marin was still in shock. She asked just to be sure, "Blanc. He probably can't get up anymore." "Right." Kay coldly observed the enemy, who could no longer resist, and confirmed, "He's barely holding on to his last breath." He silently made up his mind. "I will end this ill-fated connection with him right here." Standing before the dying enemy, Kay gripped his weapon tightly, telling himself, "I absolutely cannot leave any loose ends. If I let him live, he'll just repeat his old tricks." The lesson learned after this entire boss fight: do not let him respawn. However, despite being heavily injured, Blanc still managed to force himself up, letting out broken laughs. "Hey." He looked at Kay with eerily glowing eyes and admitted, "As expected, I can't defeat you with this patched-up power. Can I? What a pity." His face was deformed from the wounds, but his sick smile never faded. "If I had more of your color, I wonder how things would turn out. To get your color, I will use any means necessary." Suddenly, earth-shattering explosions shook the entire laboratory. Fire blazed, and debris flew everywhere, leaving Kay and Marin in shock. Amidst the collapsing rubble, Kay quickly rushed over to shield Marin from the falling rocks. Marin only had time to scream in panic. Blanc's sinister voice echoed throughout the space. "I've already planted explosive-colored inks all over the extraction room." He continued to laugh smugly in the chaos. "Communication with the organization has been cut off. And with this huge mess we've caused, the higher-ups have definitely activated the switch to destroy all evidence. Everywhere in the underground base, continuous explosions blew away everything in their path." Blanc screamed madly. "Since this is my last chance anyway, what is there that I wouldn't dare to do?" The floor beneath Kay and Marin suddenly collapsed, sending both of them plummeting into the bottomless abyss in shock. While free-falling among the ruined pillars, Kay reached out into the void and shouted his little friend's name. "Nero." Kay plunged into a pool of pitch-black liquid in the dark space of the tunnel. He struggled to the surface, gasping for air in terror. Looking at the thick liquid surrounding him, Kay was stunned and wondered. A pool of black ink. Why is this down here? He realized the horrifying truth in shock. Could it be? Waste from the extraction room leaked and accumulated down here. Extreme anxiety clearly showed on his face as he blurted out. If that's the case, then Marin. At this moment, his brain wasn't thinking about himself anymore. There was only one name. Instantly, Marin's figure appeared amidst the black ink. She was flailing in despair, her face smeared with ink. Marin sobbed his name between ragged breaths. Kay roared in agony. Marin. He tried to rush over to save her. But everything happened too fast. Marin gradually sank into the deep bottom. Kay yelled in despair. No, only air bubbles remained rising to the surface. Marin had completely disappeared beneath the pitch-black water. Without a moment of hesitation, Kay dove into the bottomless pit to search for her. At the bottom of the dark abyss, Marin's body emitted a faint white light. Slowly sinking into the void, Kay urged himself. Faster, I have to hurry. He came up with a crazy idea. I have to absorb all the ink here right now, but then he froze. Realizing the harsh reality. No. That will take too much time. Marin will die before I finish. Kay's eyes showed clear panic as he saw his hand still unable to reach her. If I can't touch Marin directly. Enveloped in darkness. A bitter thought surfaced. Is it already too late? I knew I couldn't save her the moment we fell into this ink pool. The worst moment is when you start doubting your own hope. Questions echoed relentlessly in his mind. Then why do you want to take the color? Isn't it for that beautiful light? Kay stared intently at the tiny speck of light fading away at the bottom of the abyss. He understood that if he gave up on that light now, he would never see it again. Kay's eyes widened, filled with determination and the fear of losing the most important person to him. Is that really okay? The self-questioning echoed in his mind as Kay stood on the brink of despair. No, he reached his mechanical arm toward the free-falling figure. Roaring in fury. Once is more than enough, Kay gritted his teeth, pouring all his willpower into his action. I absolutely will not give up. Beautiful childhood memories suddenly rushed back. Images of two children studying a map together under a flickering oil lamp, or happily playing and pulling each other's cheeks, appeared vividly, acting as a dose of medicine that gave him more strength. Kay dove into the bottomless abyss like a black arrow amidst the chaotic energy vortex. His mechanical arm reached out and tightly grasped Marin's small hand right before she was swallowed by the darkness, hugging her tightly in his arms amidst the violent maelstrom. Kay pleaded in despair. Don't die, please, he roared, his voice cracking with pain. You said you'd watch over me until I became a color mixer in this life or death moment. Marin's warm words from the past echoed in his mind again. I believe that we all have our own light and color inside us. You do too. It's not that you can't feel it. You just don't know how yet. Healing words. But hearing them now made his heart ache twice as much. The image of young Marin smiling radiantly and encouraging him, just learn little by little. I'll help you. So, just do whatever you want to do. He thought to himself. These words are exactly like Lumian's. That's why I've always engraved them in my heart. Marin. You were right. He recalled their arduous journey after leaving the underground city. Even though they faced countless words of discrimination and oppression, she was the one who helped him realize that most of the people they met carried their own unique light and color within them. If I were alone, I wouldn't have known anything. Kay reminisced about the days of hard labor with her at Marin's workshop. If she hadn't been by his side, he definitely would have remained forever sunk in extreme emptiness, never knowing the taste of happiness or what joy was. But now, he completely understood the truth of his life. He understood it. But the price to pay was a bit too emotionally painful. If Lumian was the one who guided the way, then you are the reason for me to keep moving forward. Kay looked deep into the face of the girl he swore to protect, his resolute eyes holding a promise to never let go. So please, wake up. Returning to the harsh reality. He hugged Marin tightly in the dark space and screamed in despair. You promised me back then. The image of the two children holding hands and walking toward the distant light only made the pain clench tighter. Kay looked at the girl in his arms in shock, trembling as he called out, Marin. He was dead silent when he realized a horrifying truth. She was no longer breathing. His brain froze for a few seconds. While his heart refused to accept such an early game over, Kay's face contorted in shock and regret. He tormented himself. Why? I absorbed all the black color. Why is this happening? In his most desperate moment, a strange speck of light suddenly flashed from Marin's chest, leaving Kay amazed. He recognized this familiar light and thought to himself, could this be the inner power she used to talk about? The image of Marin smiling radiantly with a halo of light at her heart returned. Urging Kay to make a firm decision, he had to release this light at all costs. Kay brushed away his fear and encouraged himself. It's okay. I can do this. He tightly grasped Marin's cold hand, focusing all his mind on the action. Just do what I've done before. I can definitely save her. A meteor-like burst of light erupted violently from Marin's body. It enveloped them both. Kay was stunned as he felt an unfamiliar surge of energy flowing out. What is this? This is the first time I've felt this. It's completely different from when I absorb colors. Amidst the brilliant halo, he began to understand the familiar light and color. So that's it. Kay realized that this was the purest power, sleeping deep within his friend's soul. This was the hidden potential inside Marin. A series of positive emotions like joy, happiness, warmth, liveliness, and hope manifested, crystallizing into a blinding light that tore through the darkness. Kay was moved as he finally touched her true essence. This is the light that Marin always possessed. He nodded, as if to affirm his belief. That's right. Because it's Marin. This light is so brilliant. Amidst the radiant golden light enveloping her body, Marin suddenly woke up, her eyes burning with a golden hue, witnessing this miraculous change. Kay couldn't help but be amazed, thinking to himself, it's so brilliant and clear. He hurriedly called out. Marin, seeing that she had escaped her critical condition, Kay breathed a sigh of relief. Thank goodness. You're awake. Marin was still bewildered. She touched her neck and wondered. What happened? I clearly fell into the black ink pool. How did I? But then, she suddenly froze when she looked down at her hands. Marin screamed in terror when she saw the changes on her body. What is this, Kay? Why do I have this color? She panicked. Grabbing her hair, which had turned a radiant golden yellow, Kay hurriedly reassured her. Marin. It's okay. Calm down. How do you feel? Does anything feel wrong, Marin? Still trembling. Replied. I'm fine. Looking around the rubble, Kay said in a deep voice. This must be confusing for you. But we need to get out of here first. Suddenly, a section of the wall above collapsed, putting them both on high alert. Amidst the dust and smoke, Nero appeared on a high rock ledge. Marin and Kay joyfully called out. Nero, right. Above them, a strange young man appeared. He breathed a sigh of relief and said, Phew. I heard it was an emergency. So I rushed over right away. It seems you two are still safe. Standing next to him was Camellia. She casually asked, What are you doing? The young man looked down at Kay and Marin, then urged, Hurry up and get up here. The video ends here. Guys, please hit like so Bear can release more great series. Thank you and goodbye everyone.